Oh, here we go.
Right then, hello, welcome, bienvenue. It's always chaos, isn't it, when Stig turns up?
Yeah.
It's the Honest Inquisition episode 368. Sunday the 9th of March, 2025. I'm Phil.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Matt.
We've got Stig with us. How we doing, Stiggy boy?
Hey.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
How
are you doing?
I was trying to play that video that you sent before, but you were rabbiting over the background of it.
I noticed. Yeah, I thought I was muted. I said, these guys are going to mute me, and I believed you. And now I have to sell my firstborn.
It turns out that by muting you, I muted the video as well. Do you want to play it?
Oh, well.
Shall I play it for a laugh?
Yeah, play it. But you know what? You can, it's 3 minutes long. So you want to, maybe when I start talking, you can skip past me and then just listen to that guy. Although he does interrupt a really good point I was making, that Stefan Milo says that YouTube archaeology is a legitimate. No, sorry, Google Earth archaeology is a legitimate form of archaeology. And Stefan Milo and then Milo Rossi did a video about the Richat structure, and I got triggered, and then this guy got triggered. Anyways, go ahead.
Well, today's victim is none other than David Stig Hansen. David Stig Hansen has no idea what he's talking about. And I don't mean that he just doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean that he's also a hypocrite in that he'll accuse people of not being familiar with the area, but he himself is not actually familiar with the area. He genuinely does not seem to think that you need to present evidence for your claims. He doesn't really seem to understand how the scientific method even works. Science is about what's testable. If I can't test it, it's not science. We are still very pro-science here on this channel, and indeed, I'll never tell you that there's scientific evidence for a god simply because I can't test that. When people like David Stig Hansen act like this, it takes the plausibility and the credibility of the idea, and it makes it go way down. Because nobody takes a crybaby seriously. This is not how a scientist behaves, David.
Hang on, who's the crybaby here?
Wait. Don't forget that part. You just cut the best part. I actually had to re-edit that a little bit. When he says...
Nobody takes a crybaby seriously. This is not how a scientist behaves, David. This is how a baby behaves, David. Now, David Stig Hansen is a not geologist and not archaeologist. He's not any of the things required to do any of the things he claims.
Video by Stefan Milo and Milo Rossi titled The Actual Archaeology of the Richat.
That's known as an appeal to authority argument, that where you
he's totally illogical. I got on that video, but I didn't share the link. That's a clip on my channel. I have to be honest. I did move some stuff around just to get it all in there in a short, because you know the YouTube algorithm has changed, and now we've got to be creating 3-minute shorts. You've got to do it.
You have to, do you?
You got to do it. What do you guys? What are your shorts like?
Well, we don't do them.
Yeah.
Let's watch your. Did I say watch or wash? Wash my shorts, please. I think that
you haven't plugged your channel yet. It's at Stig on YouTube.
Thank you very much. Yes, you could also go to my full name, and it'll get you there. It used to be youtube.com/David Stig Hansen, and I worked so hard to get that, and then suddenly we could grab the short handle at Stig. So youtube.com/@Stig. Also, I do later. I'll show you. I did get my website up, davidstighansen.com. So I'm totally covered.
Nice.
I don't do much Instagram though.
Well, yeah, I was on your website earlier in the week, actually. Well, we might talk about it later because I was looking at the Russian guys. But
right, they got it going. They're right now. They're just done. Today, they're probably already out of there. And I was supposed to go with them, but it's looking like I'm going to be going like in a week and a half, like maybe the 19th of this month. I don't care about jinxing it by talking about it. I took $750 from donations on GoFundMe. Later, I'll get that link in your face, but go to my website to find that link and give me money because I am now the new improved Stig, broke Stig. Yeah.
Shall I play the rest of this video? The end bit where it comes back in.
I came into some cash. I didn't have any tissues, and so.
Oh, has he gone?
I'm not gone. I'm right here.
Oh, sorry.
You just cut yourself off. You got
sorry.
yourself some
Can you still hear me? I mean,
yeah. We're here.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, good. I can't wait to show you some real stuff. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, let's just throw that out there. I got lots of new stuff. You mentioned the Russians just now, and they went and they already discovered an artifact in the 50-mile canal that's pointed right at the mouth of the Richat structure. So I'll show you those images soon. And lots of other stuff, and my next trip is going to be going to the quarries. Did I do my Randall Carlson impression?
Not yet.
Not today. Okay, just remember this. Why do I look at my video and every time I look at it, I look, first of all, not good. And second of all, I'm always like doing this in the video, but when I'm looking right at you and talking, I don't feel like I'm doing that. If I actually destroyed 2 monitors yesterday, so I had to bring in a couple of monitors last minute. So things are all new to me right now. However, I forgave the monitors. They're outside sitting in a pile, $300 down the drain. So even poorer Stig. Okay, I am also, I don't know if you knew it or not, I think you may have heard, I have been invited to Cosmic Summit in 2025, June 20th to 23rd. On a panel. It's just not all me, so I won't be talking the whole time, but what am I going to talk about? Yeah, did you hear that?
I posted, so we have a little private server in Element, it's like Discord, and I saw your video and I took a screenshot and posted it because there was 4 of our ex-guests on the same live stream.
Who are they? Who are your guests?
Stig, Nikki Anna, Cosmic Tusk, George Howard, and Gary Nerdrotic.
Okay. Then I'm in big trouble because if you guys know Cosmic Tusk, then Graham Hancock certainly heard me scream. I'm sorry, who is the 4th guy?
Nerdrotic, Gary.
Oh, okay. And I have to do a little research. I barely know about Nerdrotic. What's your summary of Nerdrotic?
Well, he has 2 channels. He has his main channel, which is a comic book sort of pop culture channel, which is a lot of fun. And he does like a Friday night live stream, which is massive, called Friday Night Tights, which is just an absolute ball. And then I think it was maybe about a year ago, he set up a second channel called Forbidden Frontiers. Because I didn't even, well, I was watching Nerdrotic for ages until one time during this Friday live show, they're talking about Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and shit. And he starts dropping Randall Carlson stuff and starts talking about Graham Hancock. And I thought, whoa, he's one of us. Gary's one of us. He's one of these ancient history nerds. And so he started this second channel up, looking into, all the usual stuff. They did a trip. I think they did a trip with Nikki to like Machu Picchu and those sorts of sites.
And Wandering Wolf was part of that as well, who's also on the panel.
Yeah, we've not had Mark on yet. I'm kind of intimidated by his beauty.
Oh, you the beard?
It's the eyes.
You're not going to shave that off. The eyes?
Yeah.
He didn't have very good lighting in that video, but I have met him before. I think the photo we took together, I can flash it later. Yeah, I met him when I met Jimmy over at CPAC 2024, right here near where I live, and I'm looking forward to it. I will. Okay, so what's my theme? Is it about the Richat? No, it's about, honestly, the Richat is part of it, but the real thing is the ancient megalithic terraforming all over the world. If I had to put my chips by something, that's really where I'd want to be. The Richat structure being in Atlantis, I have no problem believing it. When you find a 50-mile long canal pointing right at the mouth of the Richat structure, the Eye of Africa, I mean, it points right there. It points right at it. And yeah, it's you can argue a lot of stuff. That guy is right. I'm not an archaeologist. I'm not a geologist. I'm a YouTuber, but I'm also a university lecturer for 20 years. And by the way, that's what they call professors who don't have their PhDs. So I have a little experience in all this. I've done research papers. I love the trolls when they come after you. I make a comment. There's a 50-mile long canal. I'm typing somewhere randomly on the internet, and they say, "Oh, where's your peer-reviewed research paper? Where have you been published?" Whoa. And then you check their YouTube, and that troll has pure video game videos. He's just running. He loves to troll. He's a professional troll. And I'm not talking about somebody specific, but I've heard that so many times, especially on Reddit. They're like, oh, where's your research? Where's your peer-reviewed research? It's like, it's my YouTube channel, bro. Go there. Oh, you expect me to click? You expect me to click when you haven't told me everything you know in this Reddit? It's just, that's my life.
It's the same with Twitter. People just put citation, please. Citations.
Right. And then my citations are always a YouTube, a live stream that I was doing. No, I discovered that 50-mile canal pointed right at the Richat live on YouTube. So what can I say? It's all there, the evidence. What else how have you guys been? Unmute, Matt, Ben. Okay, I'm sorry. Matt says unmute. Is that Matt doesn't want to be heard? What's up, Matt?
I don't want to be heard. No, to be honest with you. No. Yeah, we've just been doing the podcast, haven't we?
Yeah, busy.
Oh, I better look at this one. I'm looking at the wrong one. Okay. And
like
a couple times I was a little worried because I'm glad to see all three of you here, because sometimes I don't always make myself known when I'm watching your podcast, but a couple times was just Phil. What happened? Where'd everybody go? Ben, you're not muted. How are you? Are you muted on your own side?
Very good. Yeah, all good. Thanks, Stig. Yeah, good to see you again.
It is good. And I cannot believe, because, let's be honest, when I was in Taiwan, it was the Brits who did cancel me there. I had to leave the country. And so I'm on unstable ground with British people, First of all, I'm fixing all the problems you guys did with the language by being an English teacher. And
why did
you guys, first of all, why are you telling me I'm okay? Shouldn't you be asking? You all right? You all right? No, are you all right?
Why did you get kicked out of Thailand, Stig?
Not Thailand, sir. Don't. Please, that's really bad right there. No, it was Taiwan. I lived there for 25 years in Taiwan.
Oh,
and
yes. Yeah.
I was so close to Yonaguni, although I would have had to cross oceans and go into different. Yeah, I was in Taipei, and Yonaguni is about 100 miles away as the crow flies. But I've been to Japan, but that's the southernmost tip of Japan, and it used to all be connected before the big floods. I speak like I don't like to speculate much, so sometimes I feel guilty when I say something like that. But it was all connected: Taiwan, mainland China, Japan. And it was Graham Hancock, one of honestly the most honorable people out there. You don't have to take it out of context when I say I love Graham Hancock so much. Did I say that right? Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is it was his book Underworld. I was destitute, and I am again. I might need to get a job soon.
Okay.
But it was in Taiwan. I was destitute. COVID was just getting started, and I did get some kind of weird stuff in my face. It was weird. I don't want to talk too much about all the details, but I don't think it was COVID. But I was up in northern Taiwan working in an animal sanctuary. There's no way I said that. That's AI. I think
that was
that's AI
that was a false alarm. That was an total accident. Sorry.
Anyways, how much time do we have total? How much time is left?
Loads.
What for the Earth? I think we're good. I mean, you never know, but I think we've got a good 10 years left, maybe.
I think, yeah, this
remember having hair
episode
like
can
that.
probably run to the heat death.
By
of
the way,
universe.
I could switch hats in a time now. So I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
let's be honest.
Yonaguni's the underwater thing, isn't it? The underwater.
Underworld is where I heard Graham Hancock talk about his time visiting the pregnant rock in Taiwan. And that's when I had to go straight down to Taidong and visit that ancient site. And it was like back when Yonaguni was connected, it was like the same coastline. So that's not like the very beginning. I was all in. We had already seen Jimmy's stuff, so it wasn't the very beginning. But I was very lucky. A wealthy friend loaned me his 4x van, and I drove all over and stayed in his house. Technically, it's not really a house, but he's growing avocados down there
in Taiwan.
And yeah, in Taidong, which means Taidong is eastern Taiwan. It's actually a little farther south than the point is that I lived in Taipei, and it took a little train trip and visited that, and yeah, he had these avocado farms, and no avocados yet, but he's future investment. You know how long it takes for an avocado tree to start fruiting?
No idea.
No.
It's a long time, years.
Is it?
It takes years.
Right.
Apparently. That's a good AI question because honestly, one should invest. But shouldn't we talk about, I mean, what's your biggest question for me?
How did oh well, just before we get into like the weeds, how did the how did the Cosmic Summit thing happen? Did George approach you?
I met George 3 Easters ago, and that was in Sedona. It was the same time I met Randall and Graham for the first time. And the only time for Randall. I haven't met him again since in person, or he won't answer my calls either. I mean, in fact, the email I should just show his card right there. Doesn't matter. You email him if he doesn't want to return. You got no power. I've been trying to push my theories on both Randall and Graham since then. Yeah. And like I said, Graham doesn't want to give me his. I got his email right, but he's like, I saw him at CPAC 2024. Am I wrong? No, 2023. And I said, hey, can I get your email? I want to send you some stuff I found. He's like, I really don't like to give out my email. I'm like,
a cockney villain.
I said, well, what about all the quarries and the canals? And he said, well, people get angry. See, people tend to get angry when I don't get back to them. And I said, I'm already angry. And then that was it. I mean, look, he's a busy guy, and he was. I didn't even know he was doing his Netflix season 2. Where did I answer the question? You were asking me about how did I get invited. So George knew about me when right here. Let's get the shot.
Yeah, the shot of the reshot.
That right there. Do you remember, boys?
Oh yes.
What do I think that is?
Atlantis.
This is Subkit L12. This little tiny circle right there. That is the impact crater that destroyed Atlantis. If that was the thing is that I wanted to test it for impact proxies, and I said to Randall, "Hey Randall, how do I test it for impact proxies?" And I just learned that word in his seminar, right? So I'm like fresh, like I got wet behind the ears, and he says, ask George. So I ran over to George and I did ask him then, although I felt like it was later. I asked him how to do it. He said, you get an iron bar, you rub it in the sand. If it picks up the microspherules, which you later checked. So you have not a magnet, but a piece of iron, and you rub it in the sand. Of course, you can't just rub it anywhere because there's a lot of alluvial fans in that crater right there. So people mainstream doesn't call it a crater. So
you need to my theory. You need to get hold of Mark Young. He's. And
by the way, we just started following each other on Twitter, and he will be at Cosmic Summit. I believe.
Will, yeah, and he was part of the research team that was actually testing the microspherules, because we've had Mark Young on the podcast as well. He's a really nice guy.
Thank you for telling me. Thanks for telling me, and I will talk to him about that. On this trip, I will flash a thing that says, "Please help me get here." I want to visit got a little lime ruiniforms. That's what they call those things, ruiniforms, in the Richat structure. And I'll show you. But ruiniforms, in my opinion, are forms of mining, ancient megalithic terraforming, and it's really my biggest theme, or should I say thesis. Was the Richat structure Atlantis? You know, we'll go to our graves never really knowing for sure, but I do believe that was an ancient civilization for sure right there. I'm not going to say 50-mile long canal again, but I walked down the parallel ones. Now we're looking at the quarries next, and also these quarry cuts in the Richat structure. You know, I used to think they were natural. I used to look at them, and there's more of a fractalization look up there in the northern part, and it's like if that if it looked natural to me. I'm like, I had no problem. Wow, nature is beautiful. But then I started, and I'll show you South Africa one more time real quick, and the stuff throughout Africa, throughout the Sahara. I've shown you all that stuff before. I need to still show you the thing they found, the Russians found.
Yes,
in the 50-mile
canal. In the canal, yeah,
and
we need to talk about that.
Yeah, keep us focused. There's few things I don't know if I showed you the second. I do believe at the very last minute, I'm like, oh my God, guys, put the thing back on. There's one thing I forgot to share, and that was the second eye of the Sahara. It's like right next to the Richat structure, and there it's aligned with the ancient equator. So I'll show you that one more time. There's a lot of new circles. In fact, there's one I don't have prepared. I have it in Twitter, and that is basically a new circle. I just found it randomly. And it's like we keep finding these, and what are they called now? Circular dikes. This one is a new one. I'll just pop it open on Google Earth, and then I'll show you later.
Yeah.
Sorry, getting that prepared right now. It's just like, what are these things? And I have my theories, and yeah, I do speculate at that point. But let's just remember, this stuff doesn't happen in mainstream geology naturally. I mean, they always have an explanation. Like when you're in Utah, oh, it's the salt that did this. When you're over there in Colorado, it's volcanic dikes. And don't search that in front of your family on Google. The scissoring ones is the ones I'm talking about. The scissoring volcanic dikes
I remember the scissoring dikes. Yes.
How could you forget?
And people ignore this stuff, and they're like, "Oh, that's natural." I'm done with that. I'm done.
The quarries, the pictures of the quarries you showed were really striking to me because of the patterning and the sort of uniformity. It was very difficult to explain from natural causation for me.
6-mile long lines at the Richat. There's other quarries too. In my last trip, I don't know, have we met since I went to the Pillars of Hercules? In Morocco, I went to the Atlas Mountains, and I went to the Richat one last time. Super expensive trip. I totally blew all my money on that one.
I think it was just after. I think the last time you're on was just after that, maybe.
Okay, and I think I showed you the video of the quarry fields inside the Richat circles. There's some quarries, which I think are the ones Randall was talking about. Now I gotta get up against Randall and slap him in the face and say, "Hey, where are these damn quarries? There were quarries." There were chert outcrops in this structure being quarried by somebody. Well, where exactly are you talking about? I looked for the papers. I never found that in any of the papers he showed in his videos like 6 years ago. And I had met him, but my head wasn't on straight. I wasn't even thinking about the quarries at all then. It wasn't a real issue. But then my first visit and right before my second, I'm like, wait a minute. Chert outcrops, huh? So I started looking at what I found in Algeria, and it looks like the exact same activity. And I'll show you this serpentine picture first. It's sitting on the screen waiting to show. And, I still want to keep our faces in here, but I can't wait to get started. I hate monopolizing the screen. I wish there was a better way, but so I promise if I'm not keeping on point, I need to first show you what do you call it? What the Russians found.
Yes.
We'll go from there.
Just before we share screen, do you think Randall Carlson's kind of married to the Azores Atlantis connection? And
Randall is well, I don't think he really believes it, to be honest. I honestly don't. To be honest, let me just make sure I have this picture over here. The Azor. By the way, I always said Azores, but somebody corrected me and said it's Azores. Yeah,
The
American
Azores.
is Azores, but it's not really the. To me, it's not really the way to pronounce that word, especially since it's owned by the Portuguese, right? And they would probably say Azores. So Azores, I know there's different ways to pronounce stuff, you know. And Randall Carlson, in his videos like 6 years ago, whatever, back when I was still in Taiwan, he was talking about these little mounts. If you want me to show you on Google Earth, he was talking about the Atlantis. It used to be called Atlantis Mount. Now it's Atlantic. And there's something I do want to talk about that I think is new information for me. There's also another one called Plato's Seamount. I can show you those, but let's be honest. The big find, it's in my map section. I need to get that ready and make sure to show you, is this map that I've already shown, but I can talk about it more. And what it's taught us is that the word Atlantis and Atlas were essentially the same word in ancient Egypt and Egyptian or whatever, you know. When Plato mentioned the mountains to the north, he was like back then obviously talking about the Atlas Mountains everybody knew about, named after Atlas. This guy was a real king in Mauritania, and either it was the same guy or it was a descendant of the same guy.
Yeah.
He made the book that's in your house called the Atlas, right? You have one?
Yeah.
Used to.
Yeah, that guy is from Mauritania. That's who they give that credit to. But basically, yeah, Atlas, Atlantis. I'm going to show you a map. Where is that picture? I want to make sure to get that ready for you. And that will be right here. Okay, got it. Ancient Greek update. Yeah,
Okay.
it's crazy. I'm ready.
Shall we look at some images then?
How do we do that? I forgot in Zoom. I don't use Zoom very often.
Share in Zoom.
I'm going to go to share. No, this is the YouTube. Let me go to the Zoom meeting. Here it is. And I share, right? And then I do screen number 3, apparently, according to this. And we're good.
Oh, right. Okay.
There we go.
Right,
and it's showing me a whole strip on the screen itself that I don't want to see. Okay, let's okay, hide that. Can you even see that thing that's popping up? You must be able to see that.
Yeah, I might just have to,
let's just drag it over someplace else. There
rotate,
there we go.
Magnify.
Okay.
Just
so how are we doing?
Yeah,
so my picture's gone. Wait, I'm showing you the wrong screen, it looks like. That's weird.
Yeah, Phil's not grabbed it yet.
Right.
He's not grabbed it yet. I have to wait.
Okay. Let me just do this one more time too, because where is Zoom?
There she is. There she is, my dear.
So are these the images from the Russians?
Not quite. You want me to go there first? I promise I will. Let's just make sure we're looking at the right thing. You're seeing the serpentine?
Oh gosh! Wow.
Oh, it looks like
a this is a quarry field, in my opinion, and this is not the band of holes. There's a band of holes in Morocco too, by the way. There's about 3 or 4 bands of holes, but this is, in my opinion, a bedrock that's been quarried away, and they left this for some reason, a serpentine of higher stones, and there's stuff like this in the Richat, and I'll show you. That's where I want to go too. I do definitely think this is even bigger. This is the small version. Okay, let's get right to what the Russians found. Let me just make sure it's all gonna be.
It looks like it's got feelers going out of its head.
Yeah, and it goes on a little farther beyond there. Let's make sure that let's see the new finds. That's what it was called. New finds. Sorry, I didn't even remember these were located in pictures folders like this. So, yeah, those guys, they approached me, and they are, this is the tour that they wanted to do with me. I said, guys, it's too late. So they did do this, but it was all Russian explorers. I wanted to say clients, but that sounds so marketing. Explorers, these Russian explorers, they went, and yeah, it's about $4,000. They're doing everything. They asked me to be an English tour guide because they've seen my work. I'm just gonna go to these pictures. Let's make them a little bigger. This is the picture of them finding the artifact
and setting fire to it.
Oh,
yeah, that's what you're gonna do if you go with them. You're gonna be in a tent.
Wow.
and
I have a
burn
mosquito
things.
killer. Go on.
No, I was just wondering what the burn. It's just it's a nice campfire. Just a campfire, a nice cooler.
Okay, so that red thing there, that's the toilet.
Okay.
And
Nice.
I mean, look at the suitcases are just tossed to the ground. I mean, why they not put him in the tent?
I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere, man. It's like, why bother?
Yeah. Well, I do believe it's better to be safer than sorry. So, you know, for me personally, you're not going to find me without a nice package of dude wipes. You know what those are? They're like wipes, but they're for dudes. Women can't use them. And
Excellent. Dude wipes.
Yeah,
you've never seen those before, have you?
I think I've. Was it not something from Dragon's Den? Or Shark Tank? It's called in America, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, let's just say it's a baby wipe,
Yeah.
but then again, you can be an adult, and then also it's a dude wipe. So the ladies have their own brands, man. Let's be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
do I have to call a friend right now?
I don't know. Is it called a lady wipe or something?
That sounds rude, actually. Very rude. Okay, let's get back to this. How many minutes do we have left? 45 or more?
No. Loads of time, Stick.
Yeah, we prepare.
Awesome. Okay, look at all these cool pictures. Now, those guys got friggin' drone footage of this canal.
Ooh.
Wow.
Okay.
So how
That's
wide
them.
is it?
That's
how wide is
them.
that?
All right, you want to know about the 50-mile long canal? All right, look,
What?
here it is here.
You just put it on the screen.
Yeah,
There it is.
I did. And yeah, that part's down here. There's other parts that aren't as prominent, but you can still see the cut through. See,
Yeah.
as you can see, this is what I call the lower Adrar. And it's 50 miles long right there, that solid line. But it points right at the mouth. And I believe this was an ancient sea out here. We've talked about that.
Mm.
But yeah, let's go back to that thing. And yeah, you can see it from the other direction. Here, that's the other direction, I believe.
Can we see it from
And
the original direction as well?
Sorry, I didn't hear what.
Can we see it from the other direction as well? We only got a
We're
couple
gonna
of
go through a
seconds.
few of these. I don't. I want to close each one to make sure I'm grabbing. Here it is, close up. This is what we were just looking at right here.
That looks like a dude. The head on the left-hand side.
It does,
Look at his
doesn't it?
big long chin and
Right
nose,
there?
a head.
That's the nose, and that's the lips, and that's the eye.
Yeah.
Mm.
Looks
You know
like
what? I recommend you don't do those types of drugs before starting live streams. But
That's
no,
the total
you're right.
pareidoia.
Yeah.
That's the chin line. The chin line you're following there. The jaw line.
That's
Sorry.
the chin. Okay, so you think that's the jaw?
That's
I
the
do
chin.
think that's another canal, and I think it cuts right there, and then over here it seems to cut in. We're not going to get. This is a photo, so I'd have to go to Google Earth.
Someone
think
page,
that's
someone
like
page Larry Cypress. That could actually be a giant.
Could be.
A
couldn't it?
giant's head. If Larry's watching.
Like the white,
You
if
guys are
look at the
talking
white-
beyond my knowledge.
like a
Oh, and
scope.
another thing, did we talk about these from Graham Langdon? He's been to the Richat at least twice, maybe 3 times. He did a new book. I have his book. And he went, when Jimmy first talked about this, he went with Josh. So those 2 dudes that went first,
Oh, Josh
he went
Sigurdsson. Yeah.
back. Josh Sigurdsson.
Yep.
If I said it correctly.
Sigurdsson.
These
yeah.
hand axe heads were found right next to the quarry field that I want to visit. But I don't believe for a second this was the possible way they were created at all. People have said it must be aliens used laser beams to cut those 6-mile long lines. I don't speculate. I just point. That's why Mr. David Stig Hansen doesn't know what he's talking about. I just point at stuff, you know. I just point at stuff. And I went to the other. Actually, I wanted to show you this one. Let me open this one. I went to this one. I went to these parallel canals. I was right about here. If you look at this closely, you can see the 50-mile long is way over there on the right. I also have recently on that last trip visited these twin bisected peaks to see if I could see it from the ground, this cut through, because both of those peaks have that. And I don't know, I don't think I showed you the images of the cut through, but I did. I can today. Just remind me. But these parallel cuts here on the highest point, That's kind of far away from the actual Richat circles, the concentric circle, but it's on the way. And the 50-mile long canal, what was my point? Oh, yeah. The parallel canals are about 20 feet deep, maybe a little more, or depending where you're at, a little less. But the 50-mile long canal, as you can see, is much deeper. Look at, that's them right there standing there. That's the two guys. And this is like 40 or even maybe 60 feet high. If that guy is 6 foot tall, is that not 10 foot taller?
Shit.
I'm sorry, 10 times. And yeah, it's.
And I happen to know from the book that I'm reading at the moment that as far as like Bronze Age 50-man ships went, the draft was only some of them, the draft was only 3 feet. They only needed 3 feet of like depth. Right. Yeah. So
for what? Which
a Bronze Age. This is from I forget. Is it the Great Migrations? No, the Migrations of Britain. Tune in next week. We'll be talking to the author.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta definitely check that out because it sounds like he also knows related to something else you mentioned, right?
Yep.
Here, by the way, this is a kind of a shot from one of my shorts. Why does it say set up professional audio right here? Gosh. All right, there we go. So the Richat structure has the mouth right there, and this is that 50-mile long canal. It's kind of, you got to zoom in to see all the different cuts, and we've done that in the past, so I don't want to go back but the ones here are super deep. The ones we're talking about are right about here at the bottom. And there are other canals that have been found. Look at that. You can even see another one that, there's so many canals.
Stig, and a couple of questions about this main canal.
Mm-hmm.
Have you followed it the other direction, as in away from the Richat structure? And have you checked the angle to north-south? Is there any specific bearing to true north on the angle of that canal?
Let me just close this out, and let's go into Google Earth real quick to find it. And there's another circle I found.
Oh.
Let's go over here to this one. Where's this? That's South Africa. Let's stick with this one. Where is this? I just found this, and it's like, what the heck? And how wide is that? It's 9,000 feet is right there. So that is more than almost 2 miles, a mile and a half wide.
Wow.
This is right over here by Egypt. And by the way, if you hear me say by the way, you got to take a shot. Okay, so I said it 3 times, 3 shots for me.
Okay.
These two things are highly sus now. All these circles in the middle of the Sahara. I'll go through them quick again, but where was I going to show you just now? I already forgot where I was going.
The
50-mile long canal.
Yeah.
So the way you find it really is you see the Richat over there, and you really got to go 3D and put it like this, and then you'll be able to zoom in and find it right away. It's obviously so close. I'm still lost. There we go. So you asked me if I followed it backwards. Now here's the big chunk, and I've been looking at this for a while, and I'm like, wow, that looks like a cut through. But then live on my live stream, this is exactly where they are in that picture, and that's where that face is that you were looking at. Don't look like a face now, does it?
No, it's a very straight line as well, isn't it? That's the other thing.
Over here, this thing is so straight, and right there, that other one. There's so many canals going through here. But you asked me which way is it going the other way, so I'm going to answer that first. Like I said, that's the mouth. Whoops, sorry. That's the mouth. And so that's the canal going this way. So when we back out, that pretty much points right at the Senegal. Now, I do think the Senegal River, that is, not the country, but the Senegal River is right there. I do think that they probably more naturally, if they had like canals and boats, followed right down here. I've done a little bit studying, but it's true. It could have been a straight line, and maybe it was also a straight line straight to the Atlantic Ocean. I do feel like a lot of stuff has been covered up by sand and flooding and time. Let's just zoom in one more time so everybody knows where we are. Again, that mouth of the Richat's there, so it starts right about here, and this is the 50-mile right there.
Okay.
And that's where those guys found this thing I'm about to show you. I think they were over here. I think they were right about here. the pictures that I just showed you, you're seeing this little glitch, and I do think that maybe if let's be honest, I think this was Atlantis. I think that there was a matrix of canals, just like Plato described. Now, I should be honest. In addition to this, we also, don't forget, have the Kalahari canals down here, and those are even bigger and more vast. And there's 250,000 miles. I'll show that to you later. Look at that. It just pops out at you. That's one of the parallel canals. The other one that I went to is right over here. And I was walking through here, and I was in there looking at all these trees. I released a new video that kind of shows it a little better because I didn't have very good coverage. But when you're standing in there, you're seeing these trees that are as high as the canal is, and they're about 20 feet high. So I thought, wow, what could that straight line be? That's about 12 miles. Let's move away. Let's get on with other topics. But before, I just wanted to say, I was going to stop talking about. I kind of forgot. Did I answer your question?
Yes, I think so. But just out of
so
a point of interest is Apocalypse Matt is saying in reference to those two circular mounts that he thinks that they are part of an alignment that he has found.
Let's go back over there. Let's just quickly look. Apocalypse Matt, thanks for your comment. You're talking about these over here in Egypt, or they're right at the corner of Egypt. They might actually be out of Egypt. These two things. And don't just stop there. And I have the Cal Topo ready to go. Now, what we're looking at here is North America. These are the two parallel ridges that I discovered. They're 12 miles long each, parallel ridges. And we can look at that later if we have time. But North America, pre-Atlantis for sure. Now, what he's talking about is over here in Egypt. Wait.
What have you done with the map here? What mode are we in?
Topography view.
Okay, this is Cal Topo.
What does that mean?
CalTopo.com. It's topography. This is my new favorite.
Okay.
Thank you, Austin. Jason Austin. It's Jimmy's friend.
Right.
I met him at CPAC 2023, and he was kind enough to share this with me. And hi there. No, forget him. Let's get Facebook closed. There's no need for Facebook. This is the Google Earth I was just showing you.
Yep.
And it was these things that Apocalypse Matt, I believe he mentioned.
Yeah, he says he's just sent another message saying that they align with those two circles align with Giza, Göbekli Tepe, and a geoglyph in Kazakhstan.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. I didn't really want to dive deep on new stuff. Alive,
Oh.
We're gonna follow that line. It's gonna take us straight to a porn site
in Kazakhstan.
Yeah. Trust me, as I've said before, I've seen enough gay porn to know I'm not gay. So, okay, that's those two things, and we're gonna look at them in Cal Topo.
Right.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying it just didn't work out for me. Okay, so there's that thing, and when you look at those two things, I think those things were built. And I'll show you later what I'm talking about. But then over here, there's more. I don't think there's a good geological explanation for how these things just suddenly popped up. I want to show you really quick one of the folders I had ready. Let me see if it's still waiting. Where did that go? I'll just open it up again real quick. It's basically all the new circular structures. I just showed you one. And since that was that one wasn't even added into these other ones, circular structures right here. These are all basically the circular structures. Now, he was talking about a different one. I believe this ancient equator alignment, if you connect Giza, this line over here on the right goes to the Great Pyramid. And then this one over here goes to, am I saying it correctly, Rapa Nui or Easter Island?
Yep.
Yeah.
And this ancient equator alignment, well, guess what? We have a new structure right here that was discovered. I think I showed it to you at the very end of our last interview. I almost forgot. And that, because I don't want to get too deep into it, it's another circular structure that's got some crazy ass canals. And here it is here. It's right here. It's got this thing right in the center. You've got what looks to me like a canal. And then you've also got ridges going across it that go right over the center. Which came first? Because the whole volcanic dike theory is that this line came first. Now, that's not exactly true because there was step 1, there's a bedrock. Step 2, it has a crack. Step 3, magma fills the crack and then hardens and crystallizes and turns into a new piece of rock.
Mhm.
And then, if you look at Colorado, it all eroded away around from that line. You look at the ones I just showed you it's called Pie Town, those 2 parallel ones. Nothing eroded away. The bedrock's quite clear. This stuff was placed on top of the bedrock. And so this line right here in the middle of this new thing, and how that's not as wide as the Richat, but it's another circle. Look at all these new ones we found here. Oh, by the way, painting behind me, I changed it a little bit. It is for sale. It's not stretched. So send me some cash and I'll roll it up and send it to you. Definitely don't start sending cash thinking it's sold though. I need to pay for the shipping as well. But that's one of the circular structures, right?
Nice.
Later, I'll show you my other art.
I didn't know you were an artist, Stig.
Yeah, let's cover that right now. But don't let me forget to go back here. Right here is my website, davidstighansen.com. Where is it?
I wonder if I've got a link in the show notes for that.
Why is it not? Well, you just have to. Oh, there it is, right here. This is the homepage. Homepage is here, and that's what I propose my next trip. We can talk about that map later. And yeah, the Russians have a tour in November. You can click on this link to get there. I do have all my grifter links here. You want to send me money? Go here. There's a GoFundMe. Please consider. I'm going to start pushing that more. I've already got $700 from that. That paid for my first leg. My art. Okay, so yeah. I want to give a shout out.
Whoa. Stig, go up.
Slow down. I got to give a quick shout out. We'll go back up, I promise. Below the green guy, this guy right here, he just passed away.
Oh.
Peter Higgins, he's Canadian. I met him in 1997, and another friend named Andrew. I won't give a last name because I don't know his real last name. Everybody protects their identities when they're in Taiwan. I painted that guitar. I was leaving Taiwan for the first time, and I had to give all my paintings away. Shout out to Peter Higgins, just passed away. Shout out to my friend John Harrison's boss, Todd, just passed away. A lot of people. So yeah, Hervé Villachez, is that what you wanted?
No, was it George Carlin further up?
Napoleon Dynamite.
No.
George, you think that looks like George Carlin, huh?
Yeah.
I can't get past it. I didn't get the nose right. I don't really think George Carlin's nose looks like that.
It's fine.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent. I didn't know you were an artist.
No,
Who is Stig? You don't recognize this guy?
Oh,
Rasputin?
He is an author.
Oh.
No.
No.
This was from a movie. That's from a movie. That's the same author, a little bit older. That's from a movie. Mugatu. Come on.
Zoolander.
Yeah.
I love it. And very inspiring. And a lot of these were done in Taiwan, inspired by Taiwan. These buildings, by the way, who's that guy? His name was shouted out earlier. It was the wrong guy, but now we said, no, not a chance. Steve Buscemi. Come on.
I couldn't think of his name.
Steve Buscemi. Oh no, I'm sorry. That was a different conversation. It wasn't with you guys. All right. So anyways, I'm trying to get back into painting. And
cool.
Yeah, I have this one of Laura Dern I'm awfully proud of.
Oh, let's see that one. Oh, wow. Laura Dern in a bathing suit, in a bikini.
Yeah, man.
Let's not get too deep into it.
This
is called
paleobotanist.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyways, I don't want to promote my art. This is my presentation, and that's the dude.
Yeah.
What else? Okay, so maps and okay, I'm all ready to continue talking. But so let's get back into what sorry, what was his name? Matt? What,
Yeah,
Apocalypse Matt?
He runs a channel called Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And
I think I'm following.
I
I'm
think
trying to figure out.
it's going to the Azores, I think, later this year with Randolph.
Azores?
With Randolph.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I have somebody who wants to go with you. Let's connect, and let's talk about going to the Azores or the Azores. Okay, here we are. Steve Buscemi, Apocalypse.
Is this someone you, Stig? What?
Let's talk. Say that again. Ask again.
Never mind. Oh, never mind. Carry
a
on.
friend of mine, somebody who I've connected with, wants to get to the Azores, and I keep trying to push it. Let's get back. So we're showing the whole map. Our faces are gone.
Yeah.
Remember my nickname for this guy right here? What do I call this guy? Graham Hancock, the English gentleman. Okay, and he's got the Roman nose. He's got the eye, and what does he have? The lips. Go to the lips.
Fuck Graham
and what
Hancock.
do you find? You find the perpendicular structures. This is not sand. This is bedrock that's been terraformed.
Oh, wow.
Ancient megalithic terraforming. Apocalypse map. See if that aligns with all your stuff. Because I would love, it's impossible to get there. And people are saying, nah, that's natural. That's natural. Okay, well then let's just go down here and look at this. Same thing, but different, right? Definitely not, in my opinion, natural. And then I can't say that. I no longer am associated with the guy with the Tintin, the Tintin hairstyle I had going. This little canals going through here. I think this whole mountain has been terraformed. Look at that. You don't just get lines like that. I know that they're not perfectly straight, but we've had years and years, and I believe millions of years. This whole area has been terraformed, and it's not just here. It's way up here. I don't want to get too deep into it because I want to get into the next one, and kind of we're just kind of going over old stuff. I just showed you Apocalypse Matt said those two circular dikes, which I believe were created at this point. This is the upside down Homer Simpson head with the small face. And he's got a smile on his face, right? But the thing is that smile, look at that arc right there. That smile is part of another circle. Somebody was building these things. I know I sound crazy if you're just tuning in, but in my opinion, this stuff just doesn't happen naturally. Over here in Mali, we have the same thing. You see this circular dike here, but below it, you see a crescent. And below that, you see another crescent. And below that, you see what did I call that? I forgot. This I call the horn.
Yeah, like a rhino
and
horn.
These things just don't. What's the explanation, geologists? David Stig Hansen doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm just asking questions. That's what I told Randall Carlson when he called me out about the Azores. And also another thing is all these little trails. I believe that they're also very significant. I believe it's part of ancient mining. These little, I call them snail trails. They're everywhere. And don't tell me they just popped up. When you look at these things up close and you look at the photos, you can find photos on Google Earth. They're just piles of rocks.
I was going to say, because like, why, just looking at this from a very, why are they different colors, these lines? Why are they different colors on the map?
I think the dark stuff is the pay dirt. The dark stuff is the pay dirt. Look at this. Just find these photos. Okay, that's obviously not going to work. Let's get out of there. But when you see pictures of these mountains up close, they're really just piles of rocks. I got to find. Okay, so this is downtown. We got to get out of here. Oh, yeah, and another thing is you always find the old stuff on top of mountains, like the super old stuff. So when you're looking at the color, like you just mentioned, when you see the darker patterns, that's usually the outcrops of these mega breccia outcrops. And yeah, some of them look like they've been machined. Let's find a photo before I wanted to show you one more thing in Mali. This is Mali. Yeah, this is the photo I want to show you. Now, I can't zoom in or anything right now, so I'll just leave it at that. But look at these piles of broken rocks.
I mean, that's not natural. They've been piled up by someone.
Thank you. Yeah. And you look at the ones in Colorado, and you're like, volcanic dikes. Volcanic dikes are one wall, like ship rock or like what I showed you, just one wall, but these are not walls anymore. They're piles of dirt. Now that we've seen that, let's go look at one more thing in Mali. Okay, and this is the mind blower. This is the smoking gun. Yeah, I changed my mind. I'm not going to show you anymore. No, I'm just joking. Let's just zoom in. Let's just zoom in. Let's get into these photos. You're not worthy.
What a
You canceled me in Taiwan. You British.
you're such a rascal.
Okay, so we're zooming in and out. That's how I roll.
Yeah.
You can see the English gentleman over here. You can see the upside down Homer Simpson head there.
Yep.
And then over here you've got Mali. Over there you've got the Eye of Africa. What's up here? We need to talk about that. But first, I want to show you one last thing in Mali. You've got that circular dike. And up above it is this structure. There's a bunch, right? I call them snail trails. But this is like the ultimate snail trail mountain here. Like, these are the same things, piles of rocks in single lines. Now, stop for a second and look. That little thing at the bottom near the man, that's 4,000 feet for what to me on my screen looks like 2 inches. Maybe on your screen it's an inch, but it's not the size of the screen that counts. 4,000 feet is less than a mile. So about an inch. So these lines are like 10 miles long.
Holy
and when you zoom in, you can really see some lines are going up and over the other ones. And someone's like, just how do they even get this content? Yeah, giants, maybe ET, maybe ancient humans did this.
Those are piles of rocks, then, like what you just showed before. Listening. They're like piles of rocks, but in lines, these ones.
Yeah, long, 10-mile long lines. Someone was building a mountain, and then you have some of them look like they're going across the top, like this one. Which came first? The ones going east-west or the ones going north-south? And are those how volcanic dikes form? Obviously not. This is no longer mainstream geology. This is something a little weirder, you know?
It seems like it's the same method that was used for the NASCAR lines, but on a scale that's kind of unimaginable.
Yeah, something was big and happening in Africa. And let's not forget, we have these Kalahari canals. This is something that we don't talk about. You've got this delta in the middle of Africa down here. It's easy to find when you're looking at Madagascar. Oh my God, let's not even get started. Please, everybody, write down Zero Control. Sub to my friend at Zero Control. He pointed me to South Africa. He pointed me to Lesotho, and he believes Madagascar is a work of art, beauty. But let's first finish where I was headed. This delta, how many river deltas do you see in the middle of a continent?
Yeah, it's a weird one.
But when you zoom into this delta, you've got 250,000 square miles of these parallel structures right next to them. They're called the Kalahari canals. They're about a mile apart. And I'm sorry, they defy natural explanation. I believe they were created. I think that the canals Plato were describing. So the Kalahari canals, just a big question mark right in the middle of Africa. The Namibian, they're not canals really. They're long parallel structures. You would say, oh, those are sand dunes, right? They look like sand dunes, and somebody says degraded sand dunes or whatever, but they're 200 miles long. Now, if I hadn't seen the other stuff, I would say that's natural. But because I've seen other stuff, I don't believe it anymore. So I do question Namibia and the stuff in... Okay, and I should have brought this up first thing. This lighter area here is Lesotho. You can see Lesotho's border. And when we zoom in down here, that's where my other thing was, right here. We see these channels. I'm just going to go back and forth. This is the Mohale's Hook. I know this is all review, so if you're getting bored, we can skip it. But Mohale's Hook, you've got these parallel... they're not perfect parallel lines. I'm not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. There's some type of a pit in the end of these. I think that they were moving material down and processing them in the pit. But what I want to show you here is this other line that's straight. It goes on for how many? 10,000 feet is down there. That's 2 miles. So one of those is 2 miles. That means this is 20 miles. And right in the middle of the straight line, you see, what is it called, guys? I've already claimed it as Stig's mound.
Nipple? Oh.
Stig's mound. It looks kind of like a pyramid, right?
Wow, yeah, it looks like a like a step pyramid a little bit, like 3 big steps, a ziggurat.
And the line goes right in front of it for 20 miles. Except some areas, the landscaping, yeah, that line goes up in front of it for 20 miles. This is Lesotho on the border near South Africa.
Right.
See this channel? This channel goes up into the mountains. There's 2 more channels. Let's use this map. I've kind of got it. So there's Mohale's Hook. There's the mound right there in the middle. Mound in the middle. You know that song? Going up, we find this other structure. It looks, I call that the Siren of Lesotho. But I believe all this was quarried. And up at the top here, I'll zoom in a moment. That's called Kolonyama structure. It points right at this other thing out here. Down here is the triangular structure. But before I get in there, look at these. These are 2 other channels right here and here. You've got really high res now. So we're getting places. This channel goes to the mountains. This channel, a little more degraded, not as parallel. But look how parallel this one is. I've shown you this before. 2 parallel lines. Those are houses right there, okay? So don't tell me the farmers did this. And you've got a 90-degree cut through that literally goes up to this other, see that line? It goes up to this other channel that's going up into the mountains. Don't tell me the Romans did this. The other channel's here. The Romans did it.
No one's seriously claiming that, are they?
Well, about the stuff that I've seen in Africa, the Roman road.
Really?
Okay, so this is the Kolonyama structure I've shown you before. That's the intersection, 90 degrees with the shortcut. Yet, before we leave it, it also has something here. Now, I'm going to show you another 90 degrees right out here. Zoom right in. It's in line with it. Another 90-degree intersection with the shortcut. Wait, let's look at this shortcut for a second. Right before it goes from, I think, about 50 feet wide down to 25 foot wide here and here, there's this little notch that happens, like the truck that was using this main transport road said, F it, I ain't following the main road. We're going this way now. And then they quarried out all this material next to the road, like, while we're here, let's get all this. But look at this notch, how it gets actually a little bit wider before it turns into this shortcut. Now I'm going to go back to the other one, the Kolonyama, and we're going to see a really similar notch. There's so many things to talk about. This is totally upside down. But if you turn it over, let's turn it over real quick. You get the same thing. About 40 foot wide. It's heading towards this perpendicular intersection, and it says, screw it. And there's this big extra wide notch right there. And it's taking a shortcut. Now, yeah, the material around it's quarried out of there a little differently. I do feel like down in South Africa, you're getting, before we leave this spot, let's turn this way. And we've got the intersection here, the intersection over here. Well, okay, this is a little bit weak, but there's something going on here. And then you follow this, and then you've got another, I keep wanting to say mosh pit, but some type of a pit where you may have processed materials, in my opinion. You've got what appears to be the 2 lines, the same line that I was just referring to, called the ancient intersection down here. I showed you this line. It's got this other bit over here that's going straight. There's what I call a very large nub, not like the ones in the polygonal wall nub, but really large nub right there. I might show that to you before we go. But coming back up here, the roads come together. I mean, once I saw this, I see an isosceles triangle to me. Yeah, it is a little weird that it's going down into this pit. And yeah, we could always go to CalTopo and look at this stuff real quick to see what we're really dealing with topographically. There's Lesotho. As we zoom in, we see the larger mountains in Lesotho, but we're kind of getting over here looking for that Kolonyama structure. There's more to be questioned about this whole area. I'm about to fail, and I'm looking for the Kolonyama. I think it's right here. Okay, I'm about to do it a different way because I have to give up now. Let's do it a different way. Here we are here. Let's just right click on it and grab the info and click there, and then we can plug that in here, and then we'll go straight into it, wherever that is. Okay, well, it didn't want it. Okay, so there you go. That's the Kolonyama thing that I just showed you. I can't rotate this, but it does show there's kind of a pit there. But now we're seeing, and by the way, I'm seeing this for the first time, it's even lower over here. So to me, it just doesn't make sense. Over here is lower, and you've got that isosceles triangle thing happening, and all these roads. And look at this structure. It's just too beautiful. This pit right here, this nub, you've got terracing, it's all connected. Okay, we're going to move on. What have I not answered? What have I kept you waiting? Oh, yeah. I promised we'd go back to all these circular structures. Let's finish that so I don't have to return, because we talked about this and I just wanted to go through them all. Is that a crater? It doesn't look like one. I think that's the Tin Biden crater, like our ex-president Bider in Algeria. This one's in Chad. That's near the Englishman that I showed you with the Roman nose and the weird thing. That's the one that's located along the ancient alignment. This is my painting for sale. I think that's the same. That's different. Let's see here. That's different. I don't know why that's in there. You gotta know that one, right? I recently found structure here in the middle of the and yeah, that's the east side, that's the north side, but it looks like it's pointing towards this crater. I don't think it's connected, but there it is. And you can see the V here. It looks like a slice of pizza taken out of a pizza pie. Some really high resolution images. The V is here. This is a recent discovery. That's why I'm mentioning it. The fact that even on the Piri Reis map, you see these two weird circles over here. I do believe that's look, this coastline is perfect. There's no flaw in this coastline. And you see the Senegal River very clearly here. What's this river? Well, if you don't know, that is the ancient Tamanrasset Paleo River. It no longer exists, but this Piri Reis map shows it. I don't know why it stops here. I don't know if that's Mansa Musa. He looks more Arabic than black. I don't know if that's his dog dancing at his feet or what the heck that is. Is that a dog or a... But over here, we have this weird circle of rivers. Those are rivers, right? And there's a gnome. Is that a gnome in the middle?
Is it not you?
Could be. I don't know. I think it looks like one of them garden gnomes. But whoops. What happened?
I don't know.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Okay, and then we got this other circle right above it. What up with that? Well, let's just be honest. The water that flowed through this river came from the Atlas Mountains. Let's just call it the Atlas River instead of the Tamanrasset River. I just made that up.
Okay.
Yeah, we have these strange lines. This is not really have I shown you this?
No.
This was I think I may have, but what we've discovered on this image is this structure. I've been looking at this for years, but now we see it connected these two canal segments, and then there's something going on further over here. We're seeing what looks like an ancient bridge or dam. Even right here, we're seeing something going on. And yes, this is the city of Wadana. I feel like I'm talking too much about old stuff, and I didn't even show you the artifact. So
we've been teasing it though, so it's a
teasing. Okay, let's get back to it. Let's get on top of it. I don't want to run out of time. I know, and don't even forget about this. Did I tease it?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. What?
I'm teasing it now.
Okay.
Let's first of all finish the artifact, and then we're going to talk about this map,
Okay.
and then I'm going to move it on to questions. Okay, earlier I was telling you about the Russians. They went and they found this. Where is this thing found? In the middle of the 50, where I showed you earlier, the 50-mile long canal that points right at the mouth of the Richat. He put his compass there, live on his video. These are the Russians that are doing the tour. His compass reacted. This has been tested. Since then, it has been tested. It is iron enriched, okay? So is it corroded iron? You can watch my video to dissect all these. This stuff has been tested. This thing is 10 meters long from about here to about over there. It's about 10 meters long.
Wow.
And as you can see, it changes color right in the middle. So it looks like a repeated segment of some sort. You've got this teardrop, long teardrop shape, almost more like sperm. And then you've got another one going all the way out here. Okay, let's be honest. It's not like sperm at all. But it looks like you've got one after the other, like it's a segment of some sort. Let's look at more pictures. And it's like a repeat, like it gets skinny down here and it gets skinny right here and it changes color. And there ain't they chipped at this. I'm not going to tell you who because I think they were breaking the law, but they were chipping at this thing. They were slamming into it with a pickaxe and that thing wasn't budging, but they got a small sample and they put it through the lab. It's iron enriched. It has manganese. That's what you add to iron to make steel, right?
Wow.
And here it is again, and I'm going to show you a close-up in a second. It's got about 3 dominating colors in there. As an artist, I can tell you the names of those colors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Red.
subscribe to my Patreon.
Wow. So we've seen the pigmentation here. They've got reds and blues and yellows.
I would call the red the oxide. I would call the blue manganese, maybe. I don't know. There's definitely 3 colors right there.
Wow.
Yeah. That is amazing. And Dimitri and Dan are running the tours, and they also during their tour, one of their clients found that, and so they got close. Let's see if I can find one more picture of it. There they are finding it in there. Okay, so that's the canal. That's the canal that they were in.
Okay.
That's Dimitri, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that's Dimitri. That's the channel. I can't remember offhand. There's a link to get to the channel. You can watch it in Russian or go to my channel and you can see I did a 24-minute version. So yeah, they were in the middle of that canal, right about there. And that lake's easy to find. I showed it earlier.
I mean,
and this wall.
It looks like a pipe, or the remnants of something that was in a pipe, which is disintegrated.
You know, with a 50-mile long canal, if you compare it to the one that Trump's taking back, the Panama.
Yeah.
You're not a fan? You want the Panama to keep controlling that? You don't want Trump in charge?
Oh, we're apolitical with no strong views.
Apolitical. Okay.
Yeah.
They're
all clowns to me.
I'm asexual myself. That means that I just offspring a child without any sexual activity at all, just like a strawberry, right?
Just,
boom.
Stick, before we get to just going back to this metal pipe.
Yes.
I mean, there's been a big sort of mystery surrounding this thing called orichalcum.
I would say orichalcum, and that's because I did put it through the pronunciation.
Okay.
Orichalcum, but anyways,
because Plato mentions that when Atlantis was constructed, they used this sort of metal called orichalcum, and there's debate between classicists and scholars about what this sort of, is it an alloy? Is it bronze? Yeah. People say when they hear chal, they think of copper because of the Chalcolithic age being the copper age.
I never thought of that before. Interesting. Well, copper was added to tin was added to copper to make bronze.
Yeah.
And I do feel like, and we did see one knife, Tutankhamun's knife, and that was supposed to be made of calcium or a calcium. I mean, you guys say aluminium, all right? I don't even know how to spell that, much less say it. I know how to say it because I'm an English teacher.
But I mean, how do you go about testing this thing to figure out what it actually is?
Well, so that I can provide to anybody who reaches out the PDF file of the testing that was done on this thing.
Right.
Let me find that up close picture again. That's kind of where it was. But okay, there we go. I wanted to show another picture of it, but it was like three little areas. I can't bring up the PDF file now, but those two charts I showed you, there was one more chart. So they took a lab sample and put it under the whatever does it and tests all the chemicals. And honestly, there was a couple of questions I had, and it was quite vastly different in my opinion. So this is the good one, right? This is the real close piece. And I presume they chose some different areas to take the test, and they graphed the chemicals. But like I said, iron enriched, definitely iron, and manganese. And let's take a look at those charts one more time, just because I shouldn't talk about them and not show you. They're right here. Okay, so this is November. They did this. Okay, so what are we seeing here? I'm a little bit confused why there's an O with the MN. And over here we have the Fe with the Mn. So that's iron and manganese, and that's oxygen and manganese. And down here is a very low Fe only, iron. But over here, the next chart, let's see here. Make sure we're looking. I only have 2 out of the 3 charts here. Okay. That's a very high. I don't understand it myself. So maybe somebody in the chat.
Manganese oxide.
Why is? Say again.
Would it not be a manganese oxide? It's just
that's exactly what I was just gonna say. So, yeah, I don't know. And there's another one. Let's take a look at the other one. There it is. That one's iron, right? And this one is iron manganese, I believe. Over here you got oxygen oxide. I don't get that. But then you've got 2 together. So anybody in the chat who wants to comment real quick about if they know this stuff, pipe up and let's talk about it. But we can go back. Let's move on to some other topics, right? What else do we have to talk about?
I should send them to my brother, because he has he was a professional chemist working in the steel industry for quite a while. So he might be used to testing metals and reading those sorts of graphs.
The mass spectrometry.
Let's do I'll privately share the PDF. I don't want to post it. It's not my document to share, really. I don't think the Russians mind. They did this testing, and they did other tests on other stuff. So when I do provide it, either you translate it, I guess, or I put it all through AI when I first got it. But I'm mad at AI right now. I stopped paying for ChatGPT. Let's talk about this map.
What is this map, Stig? What are you showing us here?
This is a really interesting map. Yeah. So it says here, okay, could we agree that's Latin?
Yep.
And at the top it says antique world delineation. Delineated world, but it also says antique in it. And this map is from the 1500s. And I'm going to explain everything about this map.
Excellent.
But AI live on my live stream blew my mind. Don't go navigating away. It's going to take you too long to find out what AI said. I've been looking at this map for a long time because of this over here, right?
Oh, this is an
But now let me continue to explain this map. It's not really a real map. This has at least 3 myths from the 1500s. We're talking Christopher Columbus time, right?
Yep.
This map was found in a binder, a book full of religious documents. So this was really showing the myths that were believed back then.
Right.
Okay. Like and by the way, if you don't believe that Hercules created the biggest waterfall in the world when he created the Strait of Gibraltar, let the Atlantic Ocean flow into what was the Mediterranean basin before it was a sea. Well, yeah, you got it. It was an ancient strip mine. That's why all those snail trails in the Sahara Desert, they were moving all that content out of the. Okay, this is a big maybe. moving all that content out of the strip mine, now known as the Mediterranean Sea. When Hercules let all that water in,
What?
well, this is shown on the map right here. It shows it right here.
What?
The isthmus that separates the two oceans. It says.
Whoa! So this hang on, because some people are only listening. So on this ancient map, you have Spain and North Africa joined together.
Right. What you see very clearly, and this is bringing on my whole new theory that the ancients, the Greeks, the ancient Egyptians, when they referred to Atlantis or the Atlas Mountains, they were talking about the same thing. But wait, let's finish this first because there's something that's going to blow your mind. Now, I've been looking at this map for a long time, and I always saw this isthmus of land that separates the two oceans that Hercules broke apart. So this is the myth that they believed that used to be connected. Now, there's another one shown on this map down below. Now, when did we discover Atlantis? I'm sorry, Antarctica?
Oh, very recently.
1820.
Yeah.
But I can provide a lot of ancient maps that show Antarctica down there.
Yeah.
Before this map and before the Piri Reis map is the one that Graham Hancock keeps talking about. And I think it's a really bad example. I don't know why Graham Hancock. What was my philosophy on Graham Hancock?
I think it was something
Anyways,
like
you're too slow. You're too slow. I hope he doesn't ever hear this. Graham Hancock, I love you. You definitely have changed my life. First there's Jimmy, and then there's Rand. No, I'm just joking. Graham Hancock is the #1 researcher, geologist. Sorry, I meant to say journalist.
Yeah.
That's what he calls himself. But yeah, you're seeing what down here looks like something at the bottom of the world. Now, as far as what it all translates into, it's kind of different from Antarctica, but since you're seeing what is Asia over here and Africa or Libya, and I don't believe Libya meant all of the continent, but there are a few examples. I got in a big fight with that guy, Miano, David Miano.
Oh, yes. We don't know him, but I know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, well, don't let me run into him. Who is the guy that did Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Rick Moranis.
See, David Miano was blessed with that Rick Moranis fish lips that just, he needs to wipe them dry. Don't have glistening lips in your videos. That's all I'm going to say. But anyways, David Miano, why did I bring him up? What? Nothing. I didn't hear that.
No, nothing. It's fine.
I'm gonna rewind. I'm gonna hear what you said. I'm gonna get AI. Okay, so let's look at this one more time. So what you have here is back in the old days, they used to think that the Nile came from two different directions, and it really is true. If you follow the Nile, you know that it comes from a down here, but it also splits off. So you've got two different Niles.
Well, it's the blue Nile and the main Nile, isn't there?
That sounds about right. I'm not really a pro. I'm not an Egyptologist, and I'm not an archaeologist, and I'm not a geologist. I don't know. I have to keep reminding you. But yeah, where does it end up over here? This one. Which one is this? The blue, or is this the east? This is the east.
Yeah,
so this is
call it the west. You call it the West Nile, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard about the West Nile virus.
Yeah.
Don't go there, Don't even go there. They don't want you to go there. They want to scare you away from going there. Okay, so it actually goes over where Lake Megachad was located. And I wouldn't say that it flowed into Lake Megachad. No. I would say that it was on the other side of whatever mountain separated the West Nile from Lake. Okay, forget all that.
Well,
Let's continue with this map.
Whoa.
Are you sure it's not Lake Gigachad?
Oh, wait. Giga, Mega, Feza. Oh, I got a slide, man. That's all old material. I got a slide. No, I think I said Mega Chad.
It's fine. It was a joke. This looks like a steak. It's like you're coming from the eye of the Sahara, and then the snake's body is the Nile.
Yeah, it reminds me how I came into some cash earlier. Nihilus X Atlant. What is that? An A or an E? Come on. Is that an E or an A? I'm going to bet A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there's an E.
Yeah.
There's an A, and there's, I think, another A. Maybe it's, and then there's profluens, flows. Now, I don't have to tell you, if you see this word here, it's not the same as this word over here.
Right.
No.
Clearly, that says Atlas Mons Mountains, right?
Yeah.
And what that says, it says something between the Atlas Mountains, something, and the Egyptian, and then there's X, from. That means from. So Atlas Mountains, something, add Egypt to X. Anyways, I just care about the word Atlas because you definitely don't have the same word over here. So what is this word? Atlanta. Now, it says here clearly Nilus X Atlanta profluens.
Oh.
Now, I used to say Nile from the Atlantic flows.
Flows, yeah.
The Nile flows from where?
From
I
Atlantis.
put these 4 words into ChatGPT before he became a bitch. And I live on my live stream translated this words, and that came out as the Nile flowing from Atlantis.
Wow. And the Atlantis being the Richat eye.
Well, it being over here south of the Atlas Mountains. So in 1550, I mean, let's do it right now. Do it. Let's see if your ChatGPT or your whichever language model you're using. And yeah, you can see the word Ethiopia is here. You can see Egypt. You can see whatever. What is that word? Oh, because I'm looking for the word Libya. We're not finding the word Libya. And I had an argument with David Mianu. Do you remember when the guy from, what was his name? Rick Moranis?
Yep.
In Los Angeles, where I met John Cleese, by the way. We met on the streets of LA. Oh, no, this happened to him in New York. I take it back. It was downtown New York. Somebody walked up and just decked Rick Moranis. You remember that?
Oh, I have. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, I've heard that story. That he was punched randomly. Isn't it?
He should probably have them glistening fish lips going on. You should probably wipe those clean. You don't want to be standing around looking like that. Someone is going to punch you. Okay, let's move on.
I'm just
I think these are basically the big...
Steak. I've just taken up Grok on Twitter and just put up Nilus X Atlanta profluens, and here is the reply. It seems like you're referencing a Latin phrase. Nilus ex Atlanta profluens could be translated as the Nile flowing from Atlanta. So
Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, well, it's not Atlanta, Georgia. Obviously, anything.
Well, I did it live
I
did it live.
Look, anything with the prefix "atl" immediately thinks of Atlantis. So I think
and also the feathered serpent, right? The Quetzalcoatl.
Atl. Yeah.
Anyway, Quetzalcoatl. But okay, so this was big for me. This was big, and I have a few other images. I do believe this was the Atlas River at that point, and there was the King Atlas who created this is not the one in Plato's story. This is the one from Mauritanian myth or Mauritanian history, their first king. Right. And the other thing that you don't want to forget is what Plato said, that beyond the Pillars of Hercules, and I already sold this, near Cadiz, the twin of Atlas received a lot of land closer to the pillars. He was talking about right here. And I think we have one more. So when people think about the mountains in the Sahara Desert, they're thinking of the Atlas Mountains, and I fuck Grok.
No, I think Grok is concurring with you. It's just that there's no.
Well, the word Atlanta, what's Atlanta?
Well, it's not a Latin word, is it?
Let me get that off the screen. Okay, so what were we going next? Let me see if there's anything else.
Steak, just before we leave, if that A in Atlanta is actually an E, it translates to the Nile flowing from Atlas. So the Nile flowing from the Atlas Mountains kind of ties in.
Well, okay. So one reason it looks like that could be an E, it does. The top part does kind of look like this E over here. But don't burst my bubble, boys. I thought I was onto something.
I mean,
No,
it still
be.
works.
you are. It's just that generally rivers are sourced from mountain ranges. So the southern Nile, it comes from the mountains in Ethiopia, I think, doesn't it?
True. And that's why this word here I think is so important. You're seeing the word mons, which I would say is mountains, and atlas spelled is that an S at the end? I think that's an S.
Yeah. So why wouldn't it be on there?
Yeah.
Well?
Why would you spell it two different ways in the same map? Yeah.
So
you definitely.
Atlas was Atlantis is what I've come to start to push. That's what I'm pushing.
Yep.
That's my new drug and my new attitude. And yeah, the whole thing about King Atlas, that right there, creator of the celestial globe. And well, is that correct? I think that might be a little off, but he created the Atlas. And yeah, the star globe, I think he was attributed to that. This guy is not the same guy, but he's from the same area, but it's not the same. And where did the last that Randall Carlson pointed at, wait, I'm making a mistake. I'm trying to find my maps. The last time Randall Carlson pointed anywhere was out here in the middle of the Atlantic down here.
Okay.
And all I can say to that is there were no gold found out here in the Azores. This is the Atlantic, it was formerly Atlantis Seamount, now known as the Atlantic Seamount. And if I'm wrong, then it's another one nearby, like over here. Then that's Plato's Seamount. But honestly, Plato also wrote that there was a 200,000 square kilometer level plain.
Yeah.
There's just nothing I'm seeing. These ridges, these can't be young. This is part of these lines are part of the, as Randall Carlson put, the suture that separated the two continents. No matter what you believe, if it's
the
expanding Earth
Mid-Atlantic Ridge, isn't it?
The Mid-Atlantic Ridge, yeah. You can clearly see that. And by the way, I think you can see very clearly right here where you've got a couple of points over there, 1, 2, and then down here, Dakar or Cape Verde. The Cape Verde Islands are out here. Those 3 points, I think you can clearly see them here, here, and down here. So I think that, I don't know if I believe in tectonics the same anymore, but that we don't have to talk about that this time. But yeah, when those separated, these lines, these ancient lines were created, we assume. Well, although a lot of these are scans, but that to me looks like a major separation crevice. My point being, you see them on both sides over here. Whatever came here, this stuff came later. And I believe it was something that was left over when the two continents separated. Just like here, the continents separated and some of this debris was left over here and here. But when it comes to some island beyond the Pillars of Hercules, don't forget, Plato made reference to diverse islands in the open sea.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not forget, these are David Miano's words. David Miano even admits that an island as big as Libya and Asia combined, by definition, is a continent.
Okay,
so
even though like the ancient Greek, as far as the ancient Greeks were concerned, Africa, it's not the same size, is it? They were talking about North Africa and Anatolia, basically. And
Anatolia is Turkey, right?
Yeah.
And also, let's not forget, beyond so we had the Berbers and Romans Mauritania, and the Atlas Mountains were described. I do believe that Herodotus said beyond the Atlas Mountains was this other tribe.
Mm-hmm.
So he made reference to beyond the Atlas Mountains, meaning that it wasn't just Libya. Libya was right here. This is Libya now, right?
Yeah.
And let's not forget what's in Libya, the Planetary Valley. I forgot to show you, so I'm going to show you right now. This is the Libyan border, and to me, this just doesn't seem natural. I think it's some kind of I mean, look at this stuff. Again, people say, "Oh, that's jointing." I don't think that it is at all. I think these are ancient mining dumps.
What's jointing?
That's a description of what happened in, like, for example. Well, let me show you an example. Very soon. This is Libya, and Libya is. I'm going to put this back north south. Let me just click on it this way. Thank you guys for putting up with me so long, and I hopefully I didn't miss anything. What did I promise? Okay, so that's the Libyan area, and the border over here is what's called the Tahsil Najer. It's a now it's a national park in Algeria, but in my opinion, it's quite clear that this would be called jointing right here in mainstream geological explanation. Oh, that's just ancient. Well, forget the word Asian. That's just erosion, wind, and water. Not in my opinion, folks. I'm sorry. To me, I see a little bit more than just natural erosion here. I see a matrix created by unnatural means. If you measure this rectangle right here from corner to corner, those two distances are exactly the same.
Okay.
And I see more. I'm sorry. There's 3 rectangles, one here, one over here, and then the middle part. I was talking about this corner to this corner. Let me show you one more that I've already shown you, and then we'll make sure. Look at all the. There's one more thing. I can never find it. So over here, it's like 200 kilometers away. Is that serpentine that I showed you?
Is this still in Libya?
This is actually Algeria.
Right.
In the Tahsil Najer National Park. And you can pretty much zoom in almost anywhere in here and find what I consider to be ancient megalithic quarrying, terraforming, different types of projects. I'm not doing a good job. Let me take you one more place to show you some really perfect lines. And that's over here north of the Richat structure. And
Okay,
when
so
you
is that
come
in-
into the
is that-
Richat,
Is that in Morocco then?
nope, it's still in more. Actually, I think it's technically in Algeria.
Right.
It's called Erdchek, and it's over here. And just want to make sure I'm zooming in just correctly. I've done a million videos on this, so I'm getting lost right now. But we're gonna zoom in. There we go. I got it. Erdchek,
Okay.
Algeria. I don't know what ERG means. It's something geological like mountain or erg. It's an erg. But Erdchek, let's get all Erdchecky. There's what I call, it's like a goldfish, right? There's like a giant goldfish, or that's this is the biggest iron ore. This is the longest train in the world. You can jump on that train for free
Oh,
and
wow.
get on into the ocean. It's right, where is it? Over here. The bordering point is right here. You can see the train.
Yep.
It looks like it's empty.
Oh, wow.
So
Look at all those
Mm.
carts.
yeah, this is, and in my opinion, I think the train that goes through here from the east to LA is longer. So I don't believe everything I'm told, but no, I'm serious about that.
Right.
I can show you some super long trains. We can do that measurement later. Right now, I'm going to show you Erdchek. Get all Erdcheki, Algeria, Erdchek, Algeria. It's up here. And right away, you can start to see something going on. And these arcs here, they seem that, like, I call that the nipple.
Yep.
And this one right here, these arcs, I think they're like walls of some sort. That's a modern day road. Don't get distracted. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
When we are around out here, I go here first. There's so many places that look like ancient quarries to me. Here's one of them. Not a very good scan, so I'm not going to stay here, but I'll show you
Right.
another one. Up here. Oh, sorry, down here. Let me make sure. It's up here. This one, I've taken you here before, but to me, you can't call these parallel lines, and not just one set, not just 2 sets, but literally 3 sets of parallel lines.
I mean,
And it
it's
just goes on and on.
It's very difficult to buy that that's a natural side effect of erosion or wind or water. Very difficult to swallow that.
Yeah, and the big thing is, was this done in modern day? That's really where we have to ask ourselves. And it's
Right.
not that big. That down there shows 8,000 feet. So from here to here is a mile and a half.
Mm.
I just showed you that. Let me show you the last one, and then we can wait. I got lost. Where is that? Uh-oh. I think it's right here. And yeah, you can find these weird so-called jointing. Wait, I want to show you the good one. I got a little lost. There it is. This one right here. I mean, what in the created these straight lines?
Yeah, that's mental.
And not just there. Right now, I'm going to take the opportunity to show you what I found in a lot of areas. I'll go through them all real quick. But in the Grand Canyon and
Okay.
in the what are we calling these? We're calling this quarrying solid. I'm sorry, I'm looking at, oh, that is not it. Let's go back. I'm going to show you a bunch, right? I think I
It's
lost
very
it.
hard to explain like this. The way it's like a patchwork on the landscape, isn't it?
Yeah, you
Like
really
that
need
one.
Yeah,
the
I'm going to go
visuals for
into this. I have a, let's do this one because it's going to show the best. I have these things were opened, and I don't think we're even going to be able to get into these. But in my opinion, we've got clear. Sorry, I'm searching for it.
It's all
We've
right.
got clear cuts, quarry cuts. I think I might have it after all. Let me go back over here. Quarry cuts. Why is it being so difficult? Let's see if it's in here. No, it's not there. Here's the map I'm going to take. And up here is the quarry cuts that are in the Richat, and I'll show those later. So where is the pictures I want to show you right now? Mounds, ridges. It must be. Oh, I'm so close. Here? No, that's not it. That's not it. I'm sorry, I'm failing. Let's just go in here. Let's make this right here, because I'm showing you stuff like this anyways. I might as well make it the full size. And I'm going to go through real quick. I found these, what I call them, these are small, right in the Richat. That's Tasil Najer, where I was just showing you in Algeria,
Wow.
the so-called jointing.
Mm.
So that's
But
like a drone photo or something.
This is I don't know where this came from. I found that online.
Wow, that's mental.
This is the same place. That's part of the serpentine I showed you.
Right.
I showed you that just now. I'm telling you, that's up 1.25 miles. There's the serpentine, the full length one.
Mm-hmm.
Other types of work, like this isn't the same people. This is a different project. I just showed you that. This is Utah. And when you're driving through Utah, the explanation is down below. 1, 2, 3. Jointing first, and then the needling or the runiform. That's the Grand Canyon.
So that's like the Giant's Causeway kind of effect, isn't it? That's what they're
That was
basing
saying
it on.
salt, then, was it?
I don't know about giant. In Utah they say it's the salt.
Okay.
So what I showed you earlier in Utah, they say, oh, it's because of the salt. This is the Grand Canyon, where there's no salt in the Grand Canyon, right? This is the Grand Canyon here. And yeah, this is all very close to the ancient mound. I consider this it's called placer mining. The Colorado River is right below all that. I believe they were using water to process ancient mining 1,000,000 years old. That's Utah. That's near arches. I think arches are also a sign of some type of I believe they were dragging this material into the river. And whenever you find perpendicular lines next to a river, Algeria, before and after, I just showed you both of those places. Here's also Tasil Najer. That's the other place. I just showed you that. And just these parallel lines. Libya, I showed you Planetary Valley. This is South Africa. Oh, I didn't show you this. This is something I wanted to show you. These triangles. That's natural. Doubt it. Doubt it. Okay, so yeah, didn't really want to show you stuff I've already shown you before. So let's move on. This is Montana. Sage Wall is down here. we've got these 3 circular dikes up there, and you see that they also have these weird ridges coming from them. The Richat structure has this structure here. I don't see how that's natural.
Okay.
And the other one, I call that the South Sea, but there's like canal passageways going through there. And then over here, down below that one, you've got even a bigger ridge, and they're all lined up. So the 2 bisected peaks, they line up with that long wall. I don't want to talk about it too much, but that so much looks like to me, this was set right on top of that. So, questions, anyone? Are there anything we need to address? What the hell is that?
Whoa, what's that? That's like a
that is
dune?
right here. That is right here. And I found that picture online. That
Just
is right here.
Go back to
this
that.
wall,
Go
ice
back.
cream scoops of material
Wow,
creating
look at
this wall. Right there. That's what you just saw.
So it's like is it like a sand dune going into a rocky outcrop?
Well, I believe that this would be more modern day activity, and it's about these things are a wall. They're going to catch blowing sand. So I do believe the sand dune is a different period of time, modern day. And I do believe that the top of this looked a little different too. And yes, it has eroded away.
You mentioned, I mean, you kind of skipped over it, but you mentioned sort of that this mining could be 1 million years old.
I do think so. That's what Randall Carlson said. There were chert outcrops in this structure being quarried by somebody hundreds and thousands of years ago. Then later he goes on to say 1.5 million years ago.
Right. So I mean, you know, a couple of 100 years ago, the human race was 6,000 years old. That was our agreed upon lifespan.
According to the Bible, the Christians, yes.
Yeah, but that was mainstream science. And then over the last 200 years...
You mean Sumeria, right? Sumeria.
Well, over the last 200 years, it's gone back to 10,000 years, and then 20,000 years, and then 100,000 years, then 150, then 250. Now we're at 300,000 years. Who's to say
I thought
that?
we were even 1 million. I thought we already got to 1 million from something like in the Philippines, was it? Or
I think
that
maybe,
I don't.
Maybe on the bleeding edge. I'm just talking about what's sort of accepted, because it takes like the death of an anthropologist, a generation of anthropologists, to accept the new normal. So we're at 300,000 years. That's what's accepted by the mainstream. I've no problem with saying that humans are 1 million years old at all.
I think that maybe these weren't humans doing the mining. Maybe they were. I don't want to say the Anunnaki giants, but
why not?
That certainly corresponds. This is in Russia. And by the way, guys, that's where I want to go.
Go back to that picture.
What are these
Holy
things?
shit!
These are in. You know what? I forgot. But I can find out for you. Here is Gornaya Shoria in Russia. Gornaya Shoria it's very similar to Sage Wall in my opinion.
Yeah.
These lines, you can look. These horizontal lines, in my opinion, is more, in my opinion, and I have a master's in business. It shows the construction method created, and then we've got Sage Wall doing pretty much the same thing, a little bit smaller.
Right.
And by the way, there was a second wall over here on the right that collapsed. So this was a channel, just like I showed you in South Africa. And this right here. This is the top. Okay, so after Mike Collins of Wandering Wolf went to here and got the first pictures that I ever saw, the drone footage, then they cleared out behind it. And so behind it is behind what we're seeing here. This was the front. And over here, right about here on the back side of it, you see this flattened nub. Come on now. What's this all about? Obviously, there was a rock on top of this. The whole thing was flattened from the rock on top. Is that weathering like we saw in Gornaya Shoria? Or is this some type of, and I'm not trying to start trouble when I talk about geopolymer. What was it? Liquid turns to stone theory? Like,
yeah. Geopolymers, yeah.
But this right here looks like that when this thing was laid out, a little glob got stuck over here, and it too was flattened out. I know that's a horrible picture. I'll try to get a better picture. Mike Collins is coming out with some new info, and I told him, I hope you talk about this. We'll see if he does. I think these are in Russia. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure they're in like Siberia, hard to get to. And yeah, what the F?
I've never seen anything like that before, and with nothing around, which is the unusual thing for me. Although I suppose that's quite a zoomed in picture for that one, isn't it? But yeah.
This one right here, that right there, looks like this one over here. Sorry. This one over here.
Oh, right. Okay. Well,
maybe. But, and by the way, mainstream geology implies that this is some type of a volcanic plug that later the surrounding land eroded away and left this sitting. Look at Ship Rock. I've been there. It just doesn't add up. I think that a lot of these ridges, and the very first stuff I saw were haulage roads, like I showed you in South Africa.
Okay.
The shortcuts. By the way, they're the same distance apart as well. 100 meters apart. 100 meters apart. Yes, I put 0.1 versus 0.01. So if you want to get all weird about a meter, let's meet in the park. Well, let's get weird. Okay, so this is a rehash. These are up in Canada. They're called moraines. Here, this is in Colorado. This is a side shot of one of these volcanic dike walls I'm talking about. You kind of see a construction method here too, and same thing happens at Ship Rock. And those walls turn a little polygonal. This is not the same thing. Those are the scissoring dikes in Colorado. All these angles in Colorado. And some of them are 13. This is the longest one I've ever found. It's just north of New Mexico. There's the big called the Devil's Stair Steps. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that they seem like they're helping the Continental Divide form. Sorry, I have to cough, but if I mute my mic, I risk shutting it down. There's Pie Town. I've talked about all this, so I don't want to bore you with the past stuff. But look at that spine of Pie Town, and yeah, over here on the other wall, I got a rock, and yes, it is ferromagnetic. All these things are ferromagnetic, meaning a magnet sticks to it. And that's the one I found up in Colorado. That's the Continental Divide as well. The Continental Divide sign is right in the middle, literally right in the middle. And, Ship Rock, I believe these were haulage roads, moving material, and that was the pay dirt point. They were, I don't know. I mean, you've seen this before?
No,
Utah.
What's this one?
This is so perfect in there. And I think it was some type of like a gold sluice. And guess what's at the bottom? A river. So I do believe these things were manufactured. That one's called the Devil's Slide, Utah.
Okay.
And this one is called the Devil's Slide, Montana. All right. So I've talked about all this stuff before. I definitely am ready to take questions and stop sharing my screen. That's in the California. Did I tell you I went there?
Not tonight. I don't remember.
Okay, so this is in California. This is the Big Divide. This actually used to be a lake, literally in the 1800s. And this weird mound right in the middle of it called forgot the name of it. The way that that's it. It's old, like I say, millions of years old. I believe they were putting these mounds on top of the mining. This is Tahsil Najer. You can see the patterns underneath it, and then suddenly this stuff's on top of it. So go to Tahsil Najer if you want to see examples of mounds put on mining, what I believe is ancient mining. There's the one I showed you here on the right, bottom right. There's like 5 others. That says 4, but there's actually a 5th one. And the highest point in the Richat, those 2 mounds, why are they lower than the highest point? And you can see these quarry cuts. They were cutting that stuff away. That's the mound I'm talking about. You can see the quarry cut going through the top of the mound. That's the mound in the Grand Canyon. Those are the ones in Utah. They're called 6-shooter mound. They have the same alignment. There they are again. Does that look like it just naturally eroded away, or somebody put that mound on top of that plateau? And there's actually a third ridge right there where my arrow's pointing. That's actually another mound in Utah. And they're all the same. They're all the same angle. Here's the one in the Richat structure. Look at the angle. Those are the two ones. I drove my truck there. That line cutting across, some kind of bisection, it's happening down here as well. And the alignment of that is some type of ancient alignment. There's the one in the Grand Canyon right next to all that stuff I showed you.
Wow.
I talked about this before. We all have similar alignments. North 6-shooter peak in Utah, south 6-shooter peak. Totally aligned. Anyways, I've talked a lot. I talked about alignments. By the way, this alignment here, the one that I showed you with this structure, that's a different alignment, okay? So that is I call this the ancient equator. That's that thing that we found. We looked at other circular structures in Egypt. Apocalypse Kim, was that his name?
Matt Apocalypse.
Matt Apocalypse. Definitely, there's other structures that aren't perfectly circular. Look at this one. This one is, where is that? Forgot where that is. That is in, I forgot where that is. Where is that?
Serpentine.
I think it's in Chad. This is the upside down, what do you call it?
Homer Simpson.
Yeah, I showed you those. Those are those crescents under topographical. That's the horn, and that other little, I forgot what I called that as a joke. That's Niger. The upside down Homer is in Niger.
Okay.
And these circular dikes, I start to believe they're created, especially with the ridges that look like they're connecting to them. And looks like maybe they were used as haulage roads to move material back and forth, or maybe they were walls. Who knows what? This is in southern Africa, just near the Kalahari canals. That's the Sage Wall ones. The Sage Wall ones, you can't even get to them. They're all on private property.
Right.
Does that look like some people think it's a tree trunk? I don't.
Yeah, it'd be ginormous, wouldn't it, if it was a tree trunk?
And there's all those dikes I just showed you, and you can't get close to them. So I was going to drive up there, but then my tooth fell out. So I decided to head down to Mexico. And then there was what I found in Australia.
Wow.
Yeah, the Australia stuff. That one we should look at. This is near Las Vegas. These weird Google mountains. Like, what happened? The rest of the mountains are fine, normal. But then what happened there? No, circles and pits. Yeah, I think they're processing centers. Okay, so I'm going to help me get here. If you want to send some money, let's look at what was I just talking about? I was talking about Australia.
You were going to go to Australia via Las Vegas.
Let's go. Let's go real quick to Australia. It's really easy to find for all your home Google Earthers.
Yeah, cool.
First, go to Australia.
Yeah, that's not Australia.
Then what? Name it.
It's Papua New Guinea, isn't it?
It's Borneo.
Oh, Borneo.
Bitch. I've been there.
It's big,
yeah.
Borneo.
Part of Malaysia's there, part of Indonesia's there, and I think Papua New Guinea does.
It's further south, southeast. Yeah, it's joined onto the tip.
I have been there. They threw rocks at me. I was selling a Ponzi scheme at the time.
Oh gosh.
Not knowingly. Come on. No, I wasn't. Read my second book. Okay. At the top of Australia, this land, of course, just like most of these national parks, is you can't go there. You got to have special permission. Right. It belongs to the Aboriginals.
Yeah.
What the heck happened here? Look at where's downtown. If you say there was a downtown, where is it? It's right here in the middle. And you got all these cuts. And I don't know if it was quarrying or what, but you've got machining happening on the tops of all these plateaus. And again, just like Tahsil Niger, they leave the mounds in the middle, or they're putting mounds, I don't know, but that looks machined to me. And it's unlike anything else you find around that area.
Just all the straight lines, isn't it?
The straight rivers. These are rivers. They're straight. Why are they cutting through there like that? And that's the suburbs of the northern area. And yeah, I'm going to take you over to that little thing I just showed you in the slide. Where is it? I forgot. Oh, there. Wait, is that it up here? Oh, there it is. So it's not quite a square, but look at that straight line coming from here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see that sharp corner. It's like, what the heck? That totally looks like not natural to me. So when I show you pictures of circular dikes and I imply that they've been created, it's because I can't unsee stuff like this.
Yeah.
Beautiful, in fact, right? But just to me, like some type of ancient project was going on there.
Yeah, they just sort of your eye is drawn to right angles and straight lines, and you just immediately think that looks unnatural. You know, it's just part of our.
Well, let's go. We'll go 3D, 2D, and then we'll go back to north, south, and then we'll zoom out a little bit. Let's kind of course, I do believe that any type of activity like this that was ancient had to connect to the ocean. I believe they were seafaring.
Yep.
So, it's like they were moving stuff around. I don't know what they were doing. Haulage roads, I believe that. There's a lot of rivers that exited to the ocean north here.
Why on earth wouldn't they be seafaring? You know, if humans have been around for 500,000 years, what we just figured out seafaring in the last 300.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, and then that's the other big question. Let's just go to the other map because I want to come back here. But when you find yourself trying to say that the only way people could get from Asia, because it's out of Africa theory, across this thing called the Bering Land Bridge, and then they came down and shimmied between two ice sheets. That instead of staying in a boat and going down this nice coast. Let's give me a break. It just doesn't add up. And then in Australia, some of the oldest Aboriginal history, my friend recently said, is it possible that, well, he thinks that it's not out of Africa, it's out of Taiwan, believe it or not. I'll give you one hint where he lives.
Taiwan.
Yep. See, you don't have my picture up there so people can see the smile on my face when I crack in jokes. Yeah, that's just to me is amazing. And yeah, it doesn't look like the rest of Australia, but I do think there's other places in Australia that have been worked. So this whole area is off limits to people who want to visit, apparently.
It's a whole new continent to explore, Stig, isn't it?
Yeah, and down here, there's some more of those lines like Namibia has. I know that this looks so natural to me. I don't like to say everything's unnatural, but these lines are awfully long. How does wind do that? And yeah, I agree. It looks natural. It looks like it's been done by wind. When you zoom in, it's not really this is not Namibia. This is Australia. But you've got the same thing happening. These hard ridges, probably the first thing you see, especially when you see stuff like this. Like maybe it was sand, but how does it go 200 miles long?
Yeah.
I don't understand it. And near rivers, you see stuff going on by rivers. There's lots. I'll show you a couple more things until you stop me. Somebody stop me!
The striking thing to me is how beautiful these images are with no people in the way, no concrete, no shopping malls.
I was going to say there must have been a lot more people knocking around these places.
Yeah, how do you account for all the labor?
Exactly. And
without
why?
Without high tech or aliens.
Why do you need so many canals so close to each other? I mean, there must have been.
Yeah, well,
billions
I assumed it had
people
something to do
going
with like agriculture, ancient agriculture. I think they were mining. Look up here by the Caspian Sea. Look at all this. That's not modern day at all, right? It's obvious some type of a remnant of ancient activities going left and right. This is the Caspian Sea. So there's all sorts of different projects going on here. You just brought something up important. Say that one more time. Was it about agriculture or not? Over here, these lines, I mean, you can tell the river has altered quite a bit, but what was creating these main things? And some of them don't look like sand dunes. You can even see outcrops separating them, outcrops of some material. I believe they were dropping these ridges from the mining activity. They would take this and they would control water with it. That's Molly again.
There we go.
So he was making it green, isn't it? Fertile, you could say.
Yeah, and we see that activity today. Maybe you could say that was done by the Romans or done by pre-Roman activity, you know, but still after the end of the Ice Age.
Sounds such a
Well,
massive
personally,
scale, though.
But
I don't think.
But I mean, like the mainstream will tell you that the Sahara didn't exist. You know,
Yeah.
that Africa was green top to bottom, and it's only sort of with the dawn of civilization with Sumer and Egypt, where the Egyptians were reliant on the flooding of the Nile to keep things moving. Before that, it was all green. It was lush.
Yeah.
So what went wrong?
You know,
It's
some
like- it's
people,
like we
I've
got
been arguing,
smacked.
like I said, that whole Hercules thing with I was just, by the way, just looking at the Kalahari canals. This is about the same that Plato described, the matrix of canals, 10 stadia apart. I think that could be part of the whole Atlantis thing, or part of the myth, right? But then again, was it possible that the Mediterranean Ocean itself was a strip mine? And that only when this isthmus of land was broken through by Hercules,
Yep.
that the water flowed in and created this sea? Although the map itself does say between the two seas, but
It
you
reminds
also
me
had
of
this stuff over here.
You know, Chris, when we had Chris Tolworthy on that couple of times, and he's a Mauritania Atlantis guy.
I know Chris,
talks-
but he won't answer me anymore. He's kind of blocked me. I don't say blocked, but I think he got tired of me talking to me and put like a silence indefinitely on our conversation in Facebook.
Was on right? Well, he's eradicated all his Facebook friends, bar about 20.
Oh.
Wow. And what about, but
We're in
now
there.
at the end, didn't he tell me he was a Santorini theorist?
No, he talks about the flood myth as being the sort of ancient god, the space, not the space gods, but like the Enki characters breaking the dams and flooding the land to punish their subjects. So it's similar to Hercules smashing through the isthmus.
You know what? I need to go watch that interview because he is a really smart guy. I
He
really
is.
respect it. A lot of the slides I use today, I got from him like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Like my mud slide. Like, are you really going to get mud from the Azores rather than something along the coast? But the reason why I'm stopping here was because I thought he told me, and regarding the Santorini argument, does that look like a island or a continent bigger than Libya and Africa combined to you? Not to me.
No.
Secondly, Plato does give a lot of real world comments like Cadiz, which is just beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which he also mentioned. There's the Pillars of Hercules right there. Actually, that's the mountain right there. So you could argue that they don't line up. It's just convenience that there's two mountains there. But Cadiz is right over here. And according to what Plato wrote, it's like right across from Cadiz. This is Atlantis.
Yeah.
The twin Gadieris received this lot closer to the pillars. And then the concentric circles had the mountains to the north. There's the Atlas Mountains right there. Don't forget, Michael Hubner, who did a real research paper, put Atlantis right here. This is a place. I have it in my papers. I have it all right here. I mean, we don't have to go over it again. Did I show you this thing?
No.
That's in California. That's carved into the bedrock. That's very. It's hard for me to get into it, but there's this wall in Napa Valley that my friend Trekker Wills, aka I am Kairos, and he took me here, and we looked at all this together. There he is with his drone, and there's me over there. And this is all up in the hills, and this ancient, okay, that's something different, right? But this ancient wall, that's not so ancient. It's not so superior. It's quite inferior compared to, say, a wall you might see in Peru, right? So I would say those are like 1,000 years old. But you can see them coming together. People say that the Chinese did them after they finished the railroad work they did in the cowboy days.
Okay.
I don't know who made this. I don't want to get too deep into this, but this is pure bedrock that's been carved. And this whole behind part is the big mystery. How do they do that? It's so perfect back there. Anyways, and yeah, something else to talk about. What's that? Okay, I kind of going backwards, I guess. So the other thing to talk about would be the Carolina Bays.
Oh yeah.
And how old those are.
Zamora's on Cosmic Summit this year as well. Antonio.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet him. I can't wait to meet him.
There's another previous guest.
Yes.
He thinks they're about 100,000 years old. George, who you've had on your show, thinks they're about 10,000 or younger, right?
Yeah, younger Dryas.
Yeah, younger Dryas event age.
Yeah.
And yeah, it points right at the Lake Michigan. So I don't know, and I don't care to argue about it all. Oh yeah, did I tell you I met him?
No.
He's at Cosmic Summit, I think, as well, isn't he? Shock.
He has been in the past. I don't know if he's going to be there again this year.
I think he is.
I met him and I said, I'm the guy that's been to the Richat structure 3 times. I bought his book. And I did not bother sharing any of this with him. Yes, he did a great presentation talking about Göbekli Tepe and how it's rewritten history. And of course, he didn't miss talking about his work on the Sphinx. So yeah, I believe that Robert Schoch is not mainstream anymore because of he's aligning. He does have a new theory on what melted the ice sheets. He kind of disagrees with the Carolina Bays Younger Dryas theory.
Yeah, he's a CME sort of mini nova.
CME, that's right. I watched his presentation. He did a great job.
This year at Cosmic Summit, Robert Schoch is second on the bill. He'll be there.
You know what? I don't even know when I'm presenting. I know it's June 20th to the 23rd, and the panel that we're doing is probably, I think, on a Sunday. I can't wait. I look forward to it. What can I say? I got to prepare for that.
I'm so happy for you, Stig, that you've been invited and you're going to get to go.
I'll give everybody shout outs,
Obviously.
To all of those who supported me in the past.
Are you
by the way, Mike Parker here, he's got a flat in Egypt. He's British. He's in Sussex, was it? Or Essex? It had a sex in the name. Where are you guys again?
Lancashire.
You guys might be able to talk to him. He's writing a book. He gave me this. This is actually, so yes, the Richat structure is 4 times larger than Plato described, and from my research, from my calculations. But look at the proportions. This is basically what it's telling me is this center thing is the island, and this is not part of the center. This is the first ring.
Right.
And we can talk more about. Whoops, I keep going the wrong way. Sorry about that. So yeah, that's it. We can talk about Randall Carlson. He said this was a Mars system. I think that it's the impact crater. What am I forgetting? I know there's something that I think we've talked about everything.
I think we've.
And I'm at the end. I was so ignorant, but it was these things that really woke me up.
What are those?
And this is in Cambodia. This is at Angkor Wat.
Okay.
And yeah, they're obviously a different piece of stone, but just as you see it, and somebody said, lathing's not a word. Sorry, troll. We can make a verb out of a noun. It's called a gerund. He was lathing. Yeah. And those look lathed to me. Yeah, yet they are not wood. That is stone. So I knew about machining. I knew that you couldn't do that to stone in modern day. You can't lathe a piece of stone. You can lathe the metal. You can lathe the wood. But in what examples modern day do we have we've lathed stone before?
None.
It doesn't look like there's any way someone could have done that by hand. For sure. Wow, guys, when are you going to do your headlines? I feel like I'm monopolizing all your information.
Well,
we're going backwards. I'm going the wrong way again. Ask me some questions. Are there any super chats we need to talk about?
Super chats? I think we've had maybe 3 in the last 12 months.
I think
you should stop sharing your screen so people can see your stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have to do that? I thought you had control.
No.
I thought you had control. So
there you go.
There we go.
Lovely.
I've been making all sorts of facial expressions. I've been like, and I forgot that you weren't showing me.
No. Yeah.
What's the?
So I haven't seen in a while. Go on.
What are you actually doing at Cosmic Summit? It's a panel, is it?
Well, this panel, and there is a video we just did on YouTube. Let's share the screen again. No, I'm just joking. Let me make sure I'm seeing you guys though, because I'm seeing the wrong thing. Zoom, right? There it is. Where are you guys? There you are. Okay, now I'm seeing everybody live as this is because I'm seeing time when we're looking at the main thing. Okay, to answer your question, there is a YouTube video about the launch. It looks like we're just going to be joining each other on stage and asking a bunch of questions. We're not really going to be able to get into our own presentations. I think my main theme is I'm a Google. Yes, I'm an explorer, but I also love Google Earth, and I think that we've discovered ancient megalithic terraforming around the world. So if I can express any theme, it's that. Nikki Anna Jones is going to be up there. She's been interviewing people, and you've been on her. She's Wait, you interviewed her.
Yeah.
She's interviewed a bunch of top people, including Michael Tellinger. I got to get a hold of him. That was one of the things that I got into an argument in Reddit when Stefan Milo did his video on the kites in Iran and implied that they were animal traps. I said in the typing in a comment, it wasn't Reddit, it was YouTube. I said, I can give you a million reasons why those aren't animal traps. And of course, the trolls, the gatekeepers, the white knighters, as you might say, the defenders of Stefan Milo, they came forward and said, oh, look at him. He has a million reasons, but doesn't even give one reason why these so-called kites weren't animal traps. And my reason is the same million reasons is the one reason. There's a million stones in these things. Do you think that hunter-gatherers are going to move and line up a million stones to catch their dinner? It's like you're gonna have a better chance at shooting a gazelle because you've confused it, because you create a channel of stone walls and it gets down to the end, and the end is only 18 inches high. But for some reason, it's so disorientated, it can't jump over an 18-inch high pile of stones. I don't think so. So don't believe that. And so I called him out, and he's done. He said in his video on Graham Hancock 2 weeks ago, he's done dealing with Graham Hancock's second season. Don't even get me on Milo Rossi, the most punchable YouTuber that exists.
Is that the guy we played the clip of before?
I'm sorry, the clip
Rossi,
off?
Who's the Rossi guy? Is that the guy we played a clip of at the start?
No, that's one of the gatekeepers for Stefan.
Oh,
he saw my comments on the two Milo brothers, and he, unfortunately, well, let's just say that they created a video together called "The Architecture of the Richat Structure," and I made fun of that in that little short you saw.
Yeah,
you can go to my channel to watch that, but getting back to the original video might be a little hard at this time. It's not impossible to find. I should probably put a link up, but the Milo brothers, Milo and Milo, they said they went to the castle, and that was one of the places I visited.
Yep.
And they didn't talk about those, I didn't call them Paleolithic axe heads that Graham showed. I showed the picture of the field of them that was out there, and it was I think it's actually it's a trick or a later project. What am I talking about? I'm talking about, I didn't even show you on Google Earth the images of that quarry field I want to go visit. And nearby, Graham Langdon on his second trip found a cache of about 10,000 hand axe heads, definitely Paleolithic, and something somebody would hold in their hand and chip away with. Okay, I don't really think that's what they made those 6 mile long quarry cuts. But later on, maybe there was some activity using those Paleolithic tools. So I really don't think that we're going to be able to prove it without a little bit more real scientists. But I think that sometimes that cash was put there by a later project, or even to make us think. There's literally like 100,000 of those things in one thing. Why would there be 100,000 hand axe heads in one batch, in one cache? And I did a video on that. And then back to I wanted to return. My point was to get back to what were we just talking about, please?
Hand axes, Miano.
No, that was, we were talking about 10,000, well, millions of stones, the stone circles, Michael Tellinger. I think the main question was, what am I going to talk about in Cosmic Summit? Let's just say that I am honored to be in, because as a guest, I get free access to the show. And it's not the cheapest show in the world. I wish I could even afford to go to Sedona. Sedona, Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock are going to come together for the first time since they were together on the Joe Rogan interview that didn't get aired. Wait, no, I take that back. They were on the one that got aired together.
Yeah.
But later on, one did not get aired.
That was Carlson and Malcolm Bendel that never got aired.
Yes.
Yeah.
I won't be bringing that up on the panel.
No. Although, yeah, because, yeah, well, I don't know. Well, yeah, best not go into that area. But
probably I want to keep my place on the panel.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I see this as like an in for you, Stig. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
You go on there, you get to meet everyone, and you know, hopefully.
Hey, first you got to get the money, and then you get the power, then you get the ladies.
Yeah, the women.
So, the women, the power, the money. No, unfortunately, people call me a grifter, and it's like, well, I make $9 a month on my YouTube channel.
Hey, that's more than us.
Well, what about the late? You guys are monetized, right? So you're on top of the monetization. Did you notice a lower in monetization come New Year's and
can't go much lower.
No, you don't. We can't. Yeah, we wouldn't notice if it got any lower.
Screen share your analytics for us. Let's see. Trust me, mine are not much better.
I'll do it.
And you have to ask, how does Squeezing Zits get 1 million views? But ancient history just don't have the pull. We just don't got the pull. So, I mean, come on, look at the headlines recently. Everybody's going crazy. What are your top headlines coming up soon?
Sorry, I'm just grabbing our YouTube analytics to share with everyone. So
you don't have to do that.
Just so they know.
Then, I'm going to share mine. It's going to be so embarrassing. I've been monetized since 2009. And I literally had 2 good months.
It's not working now. It's
all right. And by the way, the algorithm has changed. Everything's changing. You've got to do all these new things. Are you guys even doing shorts?
No. It's we know we're not going to get any help from YouTube. That's why we tell every week we talk about word of mouth. That's the only way that it's going to work for us. Here we go. Oh, it's a bit. I need to shrink it down.
I have a new philosophy about YouTube. Don't worry about monetization, because even if you do get monetized, YouTube's going to change the algorithm and you're going to be screwed. So even if you get lucky, unless you've got 1 million subs, I don't. I have 12,000 or so, and it's time for me to create a monetization platform. We're talking about affiliate links that are interesting to me. Currently, I'm selling tours to the Richat structure. Let's get it going, folks. Who wants to go? If you really want to go with the Russian groups, which I think is a really good way to do it, it's about $4,200. I wouldn't fall into the trap of upgrading to get a hotel room, because many of those days, not your own room, because some of those days are going to be intense, and they will be intense. It'll be an intense tent experience. That was an attempt. That was an attempt at an intense tense joke. All right. Back to normal. Check out my YouTube page. Please subscribe. Go to my website, davidstighansen.com, and hey, maybe you could buy this painting behind me. I kind of messed it up, but I haven't signed it. I'm going to re-sign it. I showed a picture. I signed it, but I wanted to move the signature over. and I can just roll it up and send it to you. So shipping costs are important to calculate. I'd like to get a few $100, like 1,000 would be perfect. But if you want to buy this today for $500,
Whoa!
shoot me that $500 right here and right now. But you got to pay me the shipping on top of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's 6 foot by it's 6 foot wide by 5 foot.
Wow.
Maybe tall. Yeah, you can. It's a big old painting. And I had another painting that I got rid of. It was a. So, anyways, there's the art. And if you want me to do a painting, I don't really get off on painting the Richat. And I do want to say the Richat structure is like one of those things. The more you zoom in, the more detail you see. You're never going to get a really good painting unless you work for hours and hours. So forget that. That's not the artist that I am. You saw the type of crap I paint. But that being said, I do have 2 books on Amazon written under the pen name Gitz Ferrari. They're my life in Taiwan, but the first book is the first pandemic called SARS. The what do you call it? Sorry, the whole. Sorry, I brain farted. Oh yeah, COVID. COVID is a repeat of the SARS story. They both originated in Wuhan.
Yep.
So buy my book off Amazon called Not SARS, Just Sex. It's not porn, not sex tourism. The title's just a joke. And I may have gotten laid once in the whole story.
Is that it, Stig?
It's not by Stig, it's by Gitz.
Yeah, can you not
Ferrari.
Is that
Gitz
it?
Ferrari.
Is that it on the screen? Yeah.
85 quid for a
Oh, you got,
copy.
yeah, there you go. Thank you so much. There you go.
Look at that.
Yeah, and like I say,
only
a lot of
$85.
people wouldn't stock that book in their bookstores because they didn't like what I wrote in the back, but it was just a kind of a joke amongst friends. The British ones that canceled me, those guys also thought this book was about sex tourism and pornography. It's not. And then the next book is why I'm mad at Google. What do you call it? That is a story that I wrote, my experience with investors. I got involved with what some people might try to label as a Ponzi scheme. And that is a true story. I did change all the names and penis links to protect the innocent. But then ChatGPT shamed me and said I was stealing people's money. I wasn't. I got to re-enter the prompt, but I was not taking investors' money. It was not a Ponzi scheme that I did anything. There were some problems with the investors, and it's a really bad written book, by the way. So part of my fantasy about the future is to rewrite those books in my real name, add a third part, call it White Monkey, Yellow Zoo, Life in Taipei, by a foreigner living in Taipei. And that life, I'm kind of trying to get away from it, so I don't think I'll ever write them, but I do have them on Amazon, and I would get paid if somebody bought it.
I'm sure 85 quid.
85 quid, yeah, for the first one.
What? Slow down. What price? That was for a printed version?
Yeah,
that's not me. The printed version, I had printed a bunch. Those were stolen from me out of the post. And then suddenly they started showing up on Amazon. I was just selling the ebook. But yeah, the printed version, right now I'm not making any money off the printed version.
Oh gosh, right. So you got to get the Kindle edition.
Yeah. I mean, there's a used one for 45.
If those pirates are reprinting my book, more power to them. More power to them.
Well, no, that's not on. That's not on. Get the Kindle version.
Yeah.
And then at least
get the Kindle version, or better yet,
only £8.
Send me the money directly. I'll give you. Send me the money for one. What is it? $10? I'll give you both books PDF version. If you want the printed version, I can get it in the future. We'll work on that.
Right.
So,
well,
yeah, it's amazing. That's an old life of mine. You know, I still am thinking about moving back to Taiwan someday, but right now I'm in the desert near Palm Springs, California, and I was thinking about doing a part-time thing. So we'll talk about all that down the line. Let's get through 2025 first.
Yeah, exciting year. You know, Cosmic Summit, the Russian trip, hopefully in November.
Right.
You know, just don't forget about us when you're a YouTube billionaire, Stig.
Absolutely, Stig. Yeah.
You know.
Well, and then I'll be showing up and I'll sleep on your couch and say, "Hey guys, nice to finally meet you in person."
You can sleep in the
studio.
studio.
I'm so rich and can't share the money with you. Is this couch stay free? Are you guys in the couch surfing app? I'm never spending all my money. Like I said, I came into some cash about 3 years ago, and that's gone. That money is gone.
Yeah.
I can get into more details. And now I look in here. Look at this line. It makes me look so old. I'm almost 60 years old, guys. I'm 57. 57.
Gosh.
That's young.
That is young.
57
Still
years young.
single, not married, no kids, not gay. At least I can prove I'm not gay.
He's an ISO
Anyway.
machine as well.
What else is there? There's so many things going on. I'm working on stuff around here. That if you notice, I got a phone call. They want me to go move rocks for like minimum wage.
Is that like
And it's
going
like-
to prison?
Let's do it. Yeah,
just
I didn't
lined
show
up
you
a
the
million.
ankle monitor, did I?
No. Well,
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh man.
but I've got one. It's called a ball and chain. Yes.
we're going to have to wrap up.
Yeah.
Time's knocking on now.
Yeah,
I mean,
2.5 hours.
Blown through that, haven't we?
Don't cry. Don't cry for me,
No.
Stig and Tina.
I
It's-
think the clamour for the next appearance has
I
already
didn't know.
started. I imagine.
Already, yeah.
Well, I told you, Stig, before we started, I think you're our most requested guest. People are always asking for you to come back on. So I'm very, it's great to
Thank you.
touch again.
That
and,
means so much to me. And like I said, I'm not a grifter. I see stuff, and yeah, I go to the Richat, and I want to prove that's Atlantis. But I also see stuff on YouTube. I can't unsee it. Ancient megalithic terraforming, mining, water management. I think that's the direction I'm going to go. And who knows? Later on, the faceless YouTube videos where I'm showing cats. You'll never know that's me too.
No, you won't. Right, we're going to
Thank
sign
you,
off,
guys.
Stig.
Yeah.
Good
Thanks
luck.
for having me back. You guys are the best.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
will give you
You're
the shout
best.
out.
You're the best.
You are the
We're in
best.
this together. We are in this together.
Yeah.
Good luck. I hope you get to the Richat next week or the week after.
Mm.
Yeah,
And
I still haven't got the ticket, but the GoFundMe, I already got $750 on the GoFundMe, and I can't refund that money, so I gotta get there.
maybe
So-
maybe you can come back maybe like in the autumn after the Cosmic Summit's all been and gone,
Yeah.
and can
You've been to the
debrief us
that'd be
on
good.
that. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Because we're not going.
That's in June.
No, we're
We
not.
didn't get an invite.
No.
How about
Oh.
I get there in person? I want to get there in person.
Yeah.
Let's
you need-
do
you
this
need
in
to-
person one day. I'd love that.
Yeah.
Can you hook us up with Mike Collins as well?
Sure, no problem.
Right.
Definitely 100%. And there was somebody else. I think that you guys should interview two guys, Will and Juan from Pillars of, forgot his channel name. What is it? Pillars of the Past. He's
Oh,
down in
yes.
Peru showing some great stuff. He found some brand new plateaus. And then also the other guy, Will, I just found out about these guys. And I think that they would be great interviews as well. So in addition to Mike, get him right away and we'll talk.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Mm.
Thanks, Stig. You're a diamond.
Yeah.
And,
We'll see everybody.
Beautiful.
Bye-bye.
See you next week, folks. Bye. Bye.
I gotta go, guys. We'll see you. I'm jamming.
Yeah.
I'm
okay.
gonna go move some rocks.
Take care, Stig. See you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.